He's just got some, not alarmed, but there's just some concerns about where gun laws are at in Australia at the moment. So we'll have a chat about that as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I think that every South Australian with an interest in football, i.e. almost all of us, will be heading into work this morning with a bit of a spring in their step. Great weekend all round, particularly for Port. That was a hell of a game Friday night. We'll have all the sports details later in the show. But, yeah, we were at home watching the Port-Richmond game when the news broke about Prince Philip. And, 99 years old, terrific innings. I like the fact that he himself said that he did not relish the spectacle of living to 100. He had no desire to make it to 100. He was only, 2 months shy of the ton. But remarkable life. And I've actually quite enjoyed, because I'm not a royalist, but I've read quite a few articles about his life and some terrific accounts of how misunderstood he was. You know, he was sort of always regarded as, someone who was, what's the right word?
Gaff prone?
Yeah, but he was wrongly depicted as being a bit of a buffoon.
Yes.
But he was actually a profoundly intelligent person.
Yeah.
And, a lot of us these days too get all of our understanding of the royal family from entertaining but unreliable sources such as the Crown. And there's certainly a strong view among many that as entertaining as that program might be, it's not the most reliable account of their marriage, how he behaved and what have you. And certainly the Queen herself is obviously going to be rocked because it's almost unheard of these days, a relationship that lasts that long, isn't it? It's incredible.
Well, I mean,
they were so young when they got together.
That's right. They were together before she was the Queen. It's hard to imagine a world before she was the Queen.
Yeah. She was a teenager.
Yeah.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
His story reads like something out of one of those epic Hollywood treatments of a life that's fictionalised, like Forrest Gump, where they try and do these extravaganzas that span decades, and they set someone's extraordinary life against the events of the world, and it always creates for thrilling storytelling, except that's just really what happened to him, from being exiled in the Greek-Turkish War to being kicking around with various noble families around Europe trying to find a home, eventually landing in the UK and falling in with a good crowd there, as it were, meeting his future wife, going off to war and fighting in the Second World War in real frontline combat.
Yeah.
The battles he was involved in the Mediterranean were serious. He wasn't sort of some minor royal that was shunted out the back and kept out of the action.
The funny thing, though, I reckon, and this is where I think a lot of his humour comes through, was that for a bloke who was such a genuine, old-fashioned man of action, he then basically ended up in this position where he was essentially a woman's handbag for the rest of his life. The role of consort was created for him on account of being married to the Queen. And, from a crowded field, I read this piece, So Long Philip and Thanks for All the Gaffes. I like this one. The Duke of Edinburgh never cared much for customs. Here he is at an event in Canada in 1969 where he said, I declare this thing open, whatever it is. How funny is that?
I actually think, you know what the problem with sound bites and written grabs is sometimes they don't reflect the degree to which someone was self-aware.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And he was totally self-aware of the things he'd done and said wrong. For example, here's a little bit of him speaking at the National Press Club in the United States.
Lunch here today, and thank you for a very good lunch. It's it's quite nostalgic because it's very nearly 40 years since the first time I came to Washington. In fact, we came with the Queen before she'd succeeded in President Truman's day. So it just makes you realize how old I am. And there was a splendid, because just at that time, if you remember, there's been a general election at home, and Winston Churchill his party had just got back in again. And while we were here in Washington, some splendid, I don't think it quite knew what was going on, she greeted the Queen by saying, I'm so pleased your father's been re-elected. Whereupon somebody standing next to her got really rather embarrassed, knew much better about it. He said, no, dear, that was Winston Churchill. So she turned to me, oh, I'm so pleased to meet you. I don't think anybody tried to explain that one away. And then you said that I was present at the Japanese surrender in Tokyo. That was splendid at the time, but it got a little long because we paid a state visit to Japan several years later. And of course, a lot of people there said, your first visit to Japan? And I said, yes. I'm not always as tactless as people make out.
That's in 1990, speaking at the press club in Washington.
His most famous gaffe in Australia was in 2002 when he was on one of his many trips to Australia. He came in about 15 times. But he was talking to a group of Indigenous dancers, and after they did their presentation, he went over to one of them and said, do you still throw spears at each other?
Yes.
And that was immediately, and this is, I think, an increasing sign of the times. You know, the journo's always on the lookout for a gaff-prone Prince Philip. Now, he did say that. He said it to a chap called William Bryn, who was one of the performers. And later, Mr. Bryn said to the London Telegraph about the remark, he said, I thought it was quite funny. I was surprised that he said it, but I thought it was quite funny. And it turned out the background was that on a previous trip to Australia, Prince Philip had seen that same group of Indigenous performers, and they did a show where they were indeed throwing spears at each other.
Right, but it's been interpreted as some sort of cultural insensitivity.
Yeah, or some sort of patronising remark about, primitives and what have you. But it was actually based on his perfect recollection of a very entertaining performance he'd seen the previous time by the same Aboriginal group who were chucking spears at each other.
Challenge anyone alive today to live to the age of 99, make public speeches 4 times a week and never say anything that gets misinterpreted or is regrettable.
Yeah, totally.
Good luck to you.
Absolutely.
14 after 6 news headlines coming up in just a moment.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the FIVEaa Milk Company. Because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. Whew, feel like a cuppa now.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FluorioMilkco.com.au. Gas experts. Ken Hall Gas Fitters. Kitchen oven, outdoor barbecue, living room and outdoor heaters. We're your local gas expert. On time, every time, at a time that suits you. Give Ken a call. Ken Hall Gas Fitters, 8364 5855.
Dave Potter Honda continues to prove why they're Australia's #1 Honda dealer with great early financial year drive-away deals. Enjoy massive savings on the Honda CR-V and HR-V ranges with huge factory bonuses. Plus, with over 300 new demo and used cars in stock, they'll have the right car for you to test drive today. So come and see the team at Australia's #1 Honda dealer for the last 2 years, Dave Potter. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
With half off flights, it's time for a full-on snorkel, full-on rainforest, or a full-on bite to eat. Plan your full-on holiday at Australia.com. Book with your airline or travel agent of choice before tickets sell out. Terms and conditions apply.
Save up to 55% off discontinued Beautyrest Black mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. Now's the time to upgrade your mattress and support Australian-made manufacturing. Plus, purchase with 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to the value of $500. Minimum financed amount $1,000. Approved applicants only. 60 equal monthly payments. Interest applies if you do not comply with terms and conditions. Fees and exclusions apply. Save up to 55% off discontinued Beautyrest Black mattresses and ensembles exclusive to Harvey Norman.
Amelia, Damien and Jamie Grant from Fulham Funerals.
Fulham Funerals have been caring for South Australian families for over 25 years.
Our pillars are dignity, quality and affordability.
Every Fulham funeral is conducted with the utmost care and respect.
And with 3 Fulham funeral locations across Adelaide.
We oversee everything from traditional funerals,
celebrations of life, even the smallest funerals.
Plus we cater for all religions and beliefs.
Our family, caring for your family.
Call or go online at fulhamfunerals.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
17 minutes after 6. Time for the news headlines on this Monday morning. Prince Philip's funeral will take place on Saturday, making an end to 8 days of national mourning in the UK. Only 30 people will be in attendance to comply with COVID restrictions. Harry, the Duke of Sussex, will fly from his home in the US to join other members of the royal family at the ceremony. And Meghan Markle will not be attending. Boris Johnson will not be attending either. He's said, look, as appropriate as it would be for the Prime Minister to be there, given the restrictions on numbers, it should be a family member, not him, that's there.
But they can have a maximum of 30, I
30,
think.
Yeah, it's 30.
Yeah. I like that Johnson said, I'm not going.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And look, I think everyone will read a lot into the Meghan stuff, but let's cut him some slack. She is heavily pregnant.
Yeah.
And the normal rule is you're not meant to fly after, 30 weeks from memory? Something like that. So, yeah. Might actually do the family a bit of good. Bit of quiet time. Because, families are often riven by drama, be they royal or perfectly average punter families. But deaths and things like that can make people reassess their relationships.
A fast-moving, severe tropical cyclone is making its way inland across Western Australia. The eye of Saroja has moved across the WA coast, south of Kalbarri. Not familiar with it, but it's a Category 3 storm at the moment. About 600 k's north of Perth, really. It's north of Geraldton. There's sort of reference points that people might be familiar with. Recorded wind gusts of 170 k's an hour. I never can get my head around that. I know if it's 25 to 30 k's an hour, it's unpleasant to go for a walk. If it's 40, you never would consider it. I don't know what 170 would be like.
Palm trees on a 45-degree angle, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's been 100 millimetres of rain as well. Geraldton has been hit with Category 2 strength winds. They're up to 120 k's an hour. So it's a huge area. There's real concerns for the wheat belt later today as well as it moves inland, what it's going to mean for that part of Australia. But we'll cross to WA after 7 o'clock this morning for more. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has done away with a specific timeline to vaccinate all Australians against COVID-19. He says there are many uncertainties and therefore it's not easy to have a specific timeline to adhere to.
That's one way to do it, isn't it?
Oh, you should have thought
target.
Of that
What target?
Oh, look, there are targets. Targets come and go.
Did you read that tosh that he put out yesterday about Prince Philip? Did you read the statement? It is extraordinary. I went to the trouble of keeping it because it should be taught in schools to kids about how not to write. Just bear with me. I'll get it up.
You get it up. I'll continue on. We'll revisit it in just a moment.
Oh, no, hang on. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. This is the statement that the Prime Minister of Australia put out. This is an entire sentence. While your strength and stay, Your Majesty, may now have passed, Jenny and I pray that you will find great comfort in your faith and your family at this time, but we also, Your Majesty, say to you as a Commonwealth, let us also now be your strength and stay as you continue to endure, as you continue to serve so loyally and so faithfully as you have done over so many generations.
Oh, there's a few breaths needed in that one, aren't there? Is that because is that the required formal language for something like this? Is there any, or is that someone trying to?
It's just shocking abuse of the English language. It's terrible. It's the most extraordinary sentence I've ever read.
It's a
you
paragraph.
Pack lunch to get through it.
Yeah,
I'm exhausted having just read it out.
Yeah, that is extraordinary. The country's peak medical body is confident the federal government's vaccination program will overcome recent hurdles to protect people against COVID-19. The President of the AMA says the nation's rollout will get back on track once more deliveries of Pfizer arrive here.
What we can do is vaccinate those people who are at the highest risk first, the rest of the population next, and then as we go into next year, we're going to have to look at what does this mean for us going out of COVID? Does it mean we can open borders? Do we need to vaccinate our children?
What it means is we won't be opening our borders this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Beyond to places where it's largely been eradicated, like New Zealand.
And again, we keep hearing this tosh from people like that who work in public health going, well, we are in a lucky position in Australia because we haven't had mass outbreaks, so we don't have the urgency of other countries. You only say things like that if you're not running a business.
That's right.
And I wish they'd stop saying it.
I was in Melbourne over the weekend. You want to see the impact of COVID on a city? My word.
Yeah, what's it like?
It feels like a ghost town still. It doesn't. It's unrecognisable as Melbourne when you walk around because there are people. It's not as though it's some sort of scene from the Old West where there's a shootout about to happen, but it doesn't feel like Melbourne. And you go down, any of the legendary and famous Melbourne laneways,
I reckon the ratio is 50% of vacant shops now.
Jeez.
You walk in and they're recently vacated, where there's a sort of the sad remnants of the signage on the front. There might be a chair or two still inside, but you can see that it's been stripped for lease.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Vacant. It's I'm stunned they're not going berserk in that town about the vaccination program, given what they've experienced as a result of it. We've kind of been shielded, not totally.
No.
Still a lot of businesses here that would like to see restrictions lifted. But the equivalent of other countries looking wistfully at Australia and at sporting events and seeing people there about 3 months ago, we're going to be that in 6 to 12 months' time, when we're seeing other countries not even have COVID as a news item anymore.
Yeah.
Yet we're still going to have masks and contact tracing and QR codes. But the same thing, and businesses going, when can we be normal? Well, one day, apparently.
Yeah.
Australia's had its first taste of snow for the year. A cold snap has seen falls across various areas of the country, including Tasmania, New South Wales and Victoria. Between 20 and 40 centimetres of snow has fallen across Victoria's alpine region. I've never been to anywhere it snowed in Australia.
I was about 10 years old, I reckon, maybe a bit older, on a family driving holiday. We were in Bright in Victoria, and it was snowing, not much. But yeah, it's quite alien as an Aussie, isn't it?
Totally.
Seeing snow.
Totally. Let's have a look at the weather, and we'll get to some texts on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. There's a few that have come in over the course of the first 20 or so minutes of the program this morning. 22 the top today, 26 tomorrow, possibly a late shower, 22 on Wednesday, and then more likely a shower on that day, but then again, not rain, just a shower up to 2 mils. Thursday will get up to 21, Friday 22, some more showers potentially on the way for the weekend too, 22 Saturday and 22 on Sunday.
Sue in Christie's Beach says, morning boys, really pleased to hear no negativity on my Facebook feed about Prince Philip. I think that he and Queen Lizzie are more respected and loved than their offspring. Luckily, Princess Di had input into Will and Harry, so the love has returned. Good on you, Sue. Thanks for that. One here saying Meghan Markle flew to New York heavily pregnant for her baby shower thrown by Serena Williams. Wasn't aware of that. And good one here from Wally the Walnut. We intend to do something on this later in the program. He says, boys, did you hear about the turkey hassling customers at Para Hills Shopping Centre? Police had to apprehend it without incidents on page 3 of the Advertiser. Fascinating story. Turkey on the loose. Where's it from?
Wonderful
question. Is it a pet? Is it escaped from, is there a turkey farm out there?
Is there a chance Sopol will have more on it shortly?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's got Matt Brown written all over that one.
It does, doesn't it? 25 minutes after 6, police and weather after 6:30, and Tom Wren in just a moment.
Go Vita Health Food Shops specialise in you, offering products and wellness advice personalised to you since 1987.
Hi, I'm Ali from Go Vita Marion and Colonnades, and this month you can find these awesome specials at your local Go Vita store. K-Fibre Natural Prebiotic Fibre 100 grams was $19.95, now $15.95, save 20%.
Get these specials and more at Go Vita Colonnades, Fairview Green, Marion, Mount Barker, Monopara, Semaphore and Tanunda.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. If you've postponed your overseas trip, whether you plan to sun yourself on the deck of a cruise ship or hang out on a tropical island, you can still make the most of the sun and invest in solar panels. It's a smart move because you'll actually be getting a great return on your investment. And with the money you've saved, you'll be able to take an even better holiday. Say bon voyage to your power bills forever. Visit nrgsolar.com.au or drop into our showroom on South Road at Richmond.
Great news for self-managing landlords. Toop and Toop Real Estate now has Toop Assist. You can pick whatever property management help you need without entering into a full agreement.
And that means that landlords can just get the help they need at the time.
So there's many services on offer, including advertising, finding a tenant, doing reference checks, inspections, photography, marketing tribunal hearings, and even insurance claims.
Toop and Toop are the property management specialists with 35 years' experience, and it's great that their knowledge and expertise can be tapped into as you need it.
So if you need a hand managing your rental property or just want some expert advice, chat with Toop and Toop Property Management on 8362 8888 or visit assist.toop.com.au.
As I look deep into my crystal ball, I see your future. Bright and full of promise. Oh!
Yes?
I see.
Yes?
I see.
What? What is it? What do you see?
No,
it's gone.
Lost your picture or need to improve your picture quality? Call Jim's Antennas. With technicians on the road all over SA, we'll have it fixed in no time. Call 131 546 or visit jimsantennas.com.au.
Chris Jarmer from Jarmer's Kitchen. You've hosted countless functions, christenings, 21st birthdays, engagements, even weddings.
Yes, it's all about trust, Leith, and we're very appreciative to be a part of these big family events and celebrations because we've been doing them for over 15 years. Some families have been back to the Jarmer room multiple times.
All you need to do for a memorable function is ask for Chris and let him show you their facilities. Take a look at jarmerskitchen.com.au or check Facebook and Instagram.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Brought to us by the wonderful people at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher. Saved at $300 on selected Asco dishwashers. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. I usually take you through my top 3 likes from the weekend, and we'll start with yesterday because I thought, again, the Crows right in the conversation, and it was great to see this man back and playing some good footy for the Adelaide Footy Club.
Love to see him do it. 3 disposals, 4 marks, 2 goals. Fogarty, welcome back, son. 16 points to margin. Can get it to 22 with a beautiful kick! Foggers went free! Courageous last quarter! I need to take him to the ground every week now, I reckon. And to pick him up. 22. Beautiful football.
Well, we might be onto something there. Look, good result for him. Great result for the Crows. It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done, and their fitness again was outstanding.
It was brutal in the end.
The thing I found funny was that some of the blokes who I was cursing earlier in the game, e.g. McAdam, because there were a few clangers there,
yeah,
but they all just turned it on in the last quarter.
He kicked 3 goals, I think, in that last term.
Yeah.
He was exceptional.
Yeah, and great goal in the last from Jimmy Rowe as well. You were there in Melbourne for the game.
I was there. I reckon it was as angry as a crowd as I've ever been to at a football game.
I've
been going to footy my entire life, and I've never seen a crowd that from the moment the ball bounced was on the white line. They were... you were watching a supporter base, and the only ones, there wasn't a big crowd. If you were there as a North fan...
never is at a North Melbourne game.
No, but this is especially so. If you were there as a North fan, you were there because you are a true believer.
A guy in the wall.
And the true believers, we were there to witness the moment they thought, if we can't beat last year's Wooden Spooners missing their most decorated midfielder and we're at home, we might as well not bother. Yeah. And you saw that realisation play out, and geez, it was angry, Rennie.
Yeah,
they were frothing.
Which makes it a really good performance from the Crows because they knew North were going to come. Yeah. And I mean, Kane Turner's tag on Rory Laird was intense.
Yes.
He was brutal. And Laird not only got through it, he beat him. He
Laird
was brilliant. I thought that was exceptional. Well done to the Crows. In fact, all South Australian teams, that's one of my big ticks from the weekend. The Crows women, another grand final.
Too easy.
Sensational. The Adelaide 36ers, great win over the Perth Wildcats. All of a sudden, they look back. Adelaide United, nut out a draw. And Port Adelaide on Friday night. Exceptional win.
That was amazing, that game.
Fabulous.
And we had a Rutsio last week, so we'll have Hammer this week. That goal he kicked in the third quarter.
Yep, because he'd been battling until then.
That was a brilliant goal.
That was a really good goal.
The timing of that was so important.
So well done. And my other love, if he gets up,
is
Hideki Matsuyama. Now, this guy, you talk about the bubble, if you like, in Adelaide. The bubble on this bloke, he's Japanese. Their Japanese media are golf mad. He's a megastar already. He's 5 up with 9 holes to play. Very private man. But if he wins this, Japan will have a public holiday. It will be the biggest
Diego Maradona in Argentina.
Seriously, he will be at that level.
How old is he, Rennie?
29.
Oh, wow.
He's so private, though.
Wow.
People didn't even know he'd had a baby a few years ago and was married. He just keeps everything very, very close.
I've never heard of him.
To his chest. Yeah, Hideki Matsuyama. 5 clear. Great story.
Absolutely. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today, a top of 22 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Prince Harry has arrived in London ahead of this weekend's funeral for the Duke of Edinburgh. Nine's Alison Petrowski says he touched down at Heathrow on a commercial flight from the US and will be staying at Kensington Palace.
He will follow all COVID protocols, including self-isolating until the time of the funeral. Meantime, new details have emerged about the role he will play in Prince Philip's funeral on Saturday. He will walk shoulder to shoulder with brother William behind their grandfather's coffin. Harry will not be in military uniform since he's been stood down from royal duties.
Princes Andrew and Edward have attended a church service in Windsor. Andrew spoke to the press about the death of their father.
It's a great loss. I think the way I would put it is that we've lost almost the grandfather of the nation. And I feel very sorry and supportive of my mother, who's feeling it, I think, probably more than everybody else.
Princess Anne has released a statement describing her father as my teacher, my supporter and my critic, and says she hopes to emulate his life of service. Cyclone Saroja has weakened to a Category 2 system after making landfall in WA, but it's left a trail of destruction and blackouts. WA Premier Mark McGowan says the Commonwealth is ready to step in and help if required.
And that's predominantly aircraft. We're also securing support from other states in terms of emergency crews and the like. So we're treating this very seriously. We're not taking any precautions here. If we need more support from the Commonwealth, we won't hesitate to ask for it, and I've advised the Prime Minister of that.
The federal government will no longer set targets for the COVID vaccine rollout. The Prime Minister says the uncertainties involved mean they won't set a target for when everyone will receive their first dose. Millions more doses of the Pfizer formula will arrive later this year after the change in advice on the AstraZeneca jab. The Transport Workers Union and Qantas will go head-to-head in the federal court today on the issue of outsourcing the jobs of 2,000 ground crew. The union claims the outsourcing was unlawful under the Fair Work Act. TWU National Secretary Michael Caine says it's a critical case.
Well, today in this federal court case, we're putting outsourcing on trial. Qantas has outsourced these jobs. It's pushing them to lower standards. These are secure jobs and they're pushing them to insecure work. And they're doing it all under the cover of COVID when they should have kept these workers on because they were receiving JobKeeper to do just that.
Jobs could be at risk if Australia loses its legal battle over naming rights to a popular honey. Nine's Helene Lambetsis has the story.
The Australian Manuka Honey Association's going head-to-head with a group of New Zealand producers trying to trademark the term. Producers are concerned the upcoming case, beginning tomorrow, could threaten the country's $1.2 billion honey market. Those across the ditch claim Manuka is a Maori word used to describe honey from a particular tea tree species that grows in New Zealand. Australia is arguing the word can also be used to describe the product from a native species here.
And the BAFTAs have been handed out this morning. Best Actress going to Frances McDormand for Nomadland. Anthony Hopkins won Best Leading Actor for The Father. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide's players will enjoy a day off following yesterday's 41-point thumping of North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. The result leaves the Crows in 5th place and with no fresh injury concerns. Port Adelaide, meantime, is still counting the cost from Friday night's epic win against Richmond. Zach Butters and Xavier Dersma both set for extended periods on the sidelines. Meantime, Hawthorn has slipped to second last on the ladder after losing its third game in 4 matches. The Hawks went down to Fremantle by 15 points despite trailing by 34 at the first change. Coach Alistair Clarkson says there were plenty of positives to come out of the loss in Perth.
Listen, there was encouraging things over the course of the game for our side. The fact that we did get ourselves back into the contest and gave ourselves a chance. But, yeah, we just got to continue to work on our game and give our players opportunities, particularly the younger ones, and just see where it takes us over the long term.
Let's go to golf, and Japan's Hideki Matsuyama has taken a stranglehold on the US Masters with 9 holes to play at Augusta. The 29-year-old started the day 4 shots in front and was looking shaky with an early bogey, but he's since recovered and has just made back-to-back birdies on the 8th and 9th.
That's a birdie. Matsuyama to 13 under par.
Audio there thanks to Fox. He's now 5 shots clear of American Will Zalatoris, while Aussie Mark Leishman is 8 shots back in a tie for 5th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
22 today, mostly sunny. 26 tomorrow with a possible late shower. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Most people I know think that
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 7. All right, we've got a challenge for you on this Monday morning. Had a bit of a conference in the break, talking about Prince Philip over the course of the morning, and we'll discuss what it's been like in the UK over the last 3 days when we crossed to London after 7 o'clock, and what the build-up to the funeral next on Saturday is going to be like. But Prince Philip came to Australia 35 times and South Australia 13 times. Is there anyone listening who met Prince Philip? We would love to hear from you this morning.
I would imagine there's a lot of South Australians who met him because he was the patron or president of about 50 different organisations throughout Australia. And as you said, Will, 13 trips to SA between 1954 and 2002. He was famously here with Tom Playford out at the Holden plant in Elizabeth when the city of Elizabeth had just been inaugurated, obviously bearing his wife's name. But after that, there were many, many more visits. So if you met, I've got a funny feeling my Uncle John, who worked in education his whole life, used to run the School of the Air. I think Uncle John met Prince Philip.
I'll tell you what, if you call in and you've met him, we'll give you a $100 Wilders gift card this morning.
Yeah.
8223 is the number you can text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. In every Commonwealth country around the globe, there was a 41-gun salute to honour the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh. It happened here in Australia, in Canberra, with the Australian Federation Guard firing their ceremonial guns in 10-second intervals over the weekend. Reece Dadow was there in Canberra. Reece, good morning to you, mate.
Morning, lads.
So, Reece, tell us about this commemoration. What actually happened? Where was it all?
So it's on the forecourt of Parliament House. We wandered up there about 4:30, and immediately I was quite surprised with the amount of people. Forecourt was pretty packed. The hills, the grass hills lining the forecourt up towards the big flag that you see on all the pictures. That was pretty well lined. The 6 cannons right out in front. About 10 to 5, the guard comes out and goes through all the pageantry, and then on the stroke of 5, the first bang. And they went for about a good 7 or 8 minutes in the interval.
Yeah, right. And obviously, this isn't a work day for Parliament. Parliament wasn't sitting at all. These are all just visitors and tourists and people who would have been working in the building who were there to see it.
Yeah, it's quite a mix of people. A few suits walking around, but then plenty of people in the big coats and the big jackets and tourists and locals out. And yeah, as I said, walking up the mall, because we parked down the hill at the old Parliament House, there was a lot more people than I imagined would have turned out for it.
Yeah.
How loud is it, Reece?
Pretty loud. I was quite taken back by, if you can imagine, you stand on the forecourt, you look towards the memorial and the hill on the back of the memorial, the gun would go off and the echo would come hit you back in the face off Mount Ainslie.
Yeah.
That was a pretty extraordinary thing to see and feel.
Mm.
Wow.
No, it's good, mate. Good stuff. Nice way to remember him.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Reece.
Thanks, Reece.
No, thanks.
Reece Dadow in Canberra, having seen the 41-gun salute. I've never seen it. I've never been to one before.
I've seen things at the War Memorial there in Canberra. It's a beautiful city for that sort of stuff, for those sort of commemorative things.
Spectacular setting.
Speaking of the War Memorial, did you see 60 Minutes last night? My God.
Gee.
Ben Roberts-Smith. I would be surprised if he continues with his defamation action now against those journalists who've been covering his
defamation actions
fall from grace.
But that's defending a specific incident, is it not?
Mm.
So I wonder whether that might continue. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure he can threaten suits.
But you've got to establish, in order to prove that you've been defamed, you have to show that your reputation, what people think of you, has been lowered in their eyes. On the basis of what 60 Minutes ran last night, including some of those footages of diggers interfering with the corpse of a Afghan prisoner who'd been killed, I don't see what reputation that bloke's got to have damaged. And as for Kerry Stokes, the Seven West chairman and West Australian billionaire, who's also involved with the Australian War Memorial, who's helped bankroll Ben Roberts-Smith's defamation claim. The fact that this secret audio has got Ben Roberts-Smith, decorated war hero, VC winner, boasting about how Stokes is paying for his defo, making all sorts of comments about the people he works with at Seven in Queensland, where Kerry Stokes lined up that executive level job for him. Just the most extraordinary story.
I think too, when the initial reporting about some of his alleged conduct came out, I'm always reminded of what the quotes were from unnamed current and former SAS soldiers. And I always think this because, unfortunately, part of the defence in some people's minds sometimes for the alleged actions is, well, you're in a pretty nasty environment doing nasty things. It's not nice, but, we can't understand the stresses, and that's what it's like. And unfortunately, whatever you think of that as a, inverted commas, defence, it kind of tarnishes everyone else who served in that regiment and in those environments. And are those people there saying, hang on, whoa, this isn't normal?
No.
So don't ever for a second accept that this is normal, because we're there all the time. And that's worse if we suddenly tarnish the reputation of not just one person involved, but an entire unit, an entire element of the Australian Armed Forces.
Well, there was footage of Ben Roberts-Smith and his mates on camp in Afghanistan letting their hair down at this party, where one of his friends was dressed as a Ku Klux Klansman holding a burning inverted crucifix, while other officers were pulling their pants down, simulating sex acts on each other. It's just sort of Apocalypse Now type stuff. It's crazy.
16-7, got a text from Mark in Para Hills that says, I do have a medal from the Queen and Prince Philip back in 1977, celebrating their silver anniversary, and he still got it. Good on you, Mark. We're on the lookout this morning for anyone who's met Prince Philip in any of his 13 visits to Adelaide. 8223 0000 is the number you can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Police and weather coming up in just a moment.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
When you think surgery, you think hospital, right? Well, Dr. Greg Keane wants you to think SportsMed.
SportsMed is the only purpose-built orthopaedic hospital in the country, with world-class nursing and theatre staff, a first-class catering team, and the latest innovations in patient treatment and care.
And your surgeons?
We're experts in all procedures for hips, knees, feet, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands.
All your treatments, all your care. One place. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your successful surgery.
sportsmed.com.au.
So, you've got a will. But, is your estate plan in place? What if you lose capacity to manage your financial affairs? Or to make medical or health decisions? What happens then? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
Save up to 55% off discontinued Beautyrest Black mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. Now's the time to upgrade your mattress and support Australian-made manufacturing. Plus, purchase with 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to the value of $500. Minimum finance amount $1,000. Approved applicants only. 60 equal monthly payments. Interest applies if you do not comply with terms and conditions. Fees and exclusions apply. Save up to 55% off discontinued Beautyrest Black mattresses and ensembles exclusive to Harvey Norman.
Go! When people walk through the doors at Powell's, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Powell's, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 minutes to 7. Let's check in with SAPOL. Senior Constable Dave Muir's on the line. Morning to you, Dave.
Good morning.
Now, a northern suburbs prowler has been arrested. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this was just around 10 o'clock last night. Patrols were called to Brunswick Terrace at Windvale, where a resident there reported hearing some noises coming from their backyard and then seeing a man walk past the side of the property. Now, there were additional reports of similar suspicious activity coming from neighbouring properties in Surrey Downs. Police swarmed the area, conducted a search and located the suspect on Pauline Drive at Surrey Downs with some minor injuries to his hands and head. The 47-year-old of no fixed address was treated at hospital before being taken to the police station where he was charged with 4 counts of unlawfully on premises. He hasn't applied for bail and he'll appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court later today.
Now, Dave, great work by SAPOL apprehending that rogue turkey yesterday.
Yeah.
By which I mean the real turkey, not some of the other turkeys you come into contact with.
Yeah. This is a change. It was a turn up for the cars. You actually do it with a real one.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what is the latest on this rogue bird?
Well, we haven't had an update at this stage, so we just know that, yesterday morning around 8 o'clock is when we got called to the Barrow Hill Shopping Centre, where some customers have been confronted by this turkey who was ruffling their feathers and refusing to let them leave. So police went in cold turkey. Oh, yeah, there's more. And apprehended him without incident before placing him in the vehicle. Now, there was a brief interview. Police discovered the jailbird simply talking turkey because he just kept repeating gobble, gobble. So the feathered felon was taken to an animal sanctuary at Hillier. And we're hoping someone's, given it was on the news last night and we've had it on our Facebook page, that someone has realised that their turkey's missing and have made some contact with that sanctuary at Hillier. Was that saying he was soaring with the eagles or something? And
yeah, that's right.
Surrounded by...
That photo on page 3 of the Tiser of the turkey.
Yeah.
Is he actually in the back of a squad car there? And did someone gently put their hand on his head when they made him into the vehicle?
He was in the back of the cage car.
The divvy van.
Yeah, back of the divvy van. Yeah, that's
like when you get chucked out of the cricket.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, dearie me.
Oh, that's excellent, Dave.
And I don't know whether to be offended or not, but it wasn't Matt Brown.
No, mate, you more than covered yourself in glory.
You're
there.
back on top of the pun power rankings. So.
Oh, I know.
It's like Federer and Nadal with you two. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Senior Constable Dave Muir from SAPOL. Let's talk about the weather. Brett Gage is the senior forecaster at the Bureau this morning. Morning to you, Brett.
Morning, Dave Muir.
So it's cold, Brett.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Forgot what cold feels like.
Yeah, pretty cold. It's only 8.5 at the moment. Got down to 8.1 at 4:30 this morning. But it will warm up nicely. We've got nice clear skies up there and heading for a top of 22 today. And just light to moderate northeasterly winds. And then different story tomorrow, though. We'll be looking at fresh to strong north to northwesterly winds tomorrow. We've got a strong wind warning for metropolitan waters. And it's looking like the fire danger rating's probably going to be severe for the Mount Lofty ranges. So it's likely we'll have a total fire ban for tomorrow. Fire season's not over yet. And a nice warm top of 26, but then a westerly change coming through in the evening, bringing us a possible shower in the evening tomorrow, and then a shower or two on Wednesday, and much cooler behind that change, top of 22 with a shower or two, then 21 with a possible shower for Thursday, and then we got 22's the maximum from Friday right through to Sunday, with just a slight chance for a shower on the Friday, but then a shower or two on both days on the weekend.
Good stuff.
Good on you, Brett. Senior forecaster Brett Gage at the Weather Bureau. Let's check traffic for the first time this morning. Thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running, davepotterhonda.com.au.
At Door Park, Pasadena, the intersection upgrade of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road. That'll cause a few delays this morning. They're asphalting there at the moment. Detours in place and speeds down to 25 k's. Also delays with the burst water main, Holden Hill. That's at Grain Junction Road near North East Road. And the freeway down track and up track today between Crafers and Tollgate. Speeds are down to 60 k's for ongoing works. Specsavers is giving everyone with health cover $50 off lens options like smudge-resistant, polarisation and more. Offer ends April 28. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
At Lendlease Retirement Villages this May, the kettle's on for personalised tea and tour appointments. See homes, community spaces or learn about contract options. To book, visit teaandtour.com.au or call 1800 550 550.
Want to get out and do something new? Well, have you seen the supercars at the Ben Motorsport Park? Only an hour up the freeway, this international award-winning facility comes alive with 3 supercars races, carnival rides, karting, live music, regional market stalls and more. What are you waiting for? Tickets start from only $25 and kids 15 and under are free. The OTR Super Sprint is the 7th to the 9th of May at the Ben Motorsport Park. Tickets on sale now at theben.com.au.
Everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, sold by McGain again.
And as you've heard, there's still buyers everywhere at the moment, so you can expect plenty of offers on your home as soon as you list.
And that's because McGain have families lined up waiting for new homes to be listed for sale right now. So if you're looking to sell, contact the brilliant team at McGain and ask them about their McGain match strategy. They could already have the perfect buyer for your property.
And with the largest amount of buyer activity in the past 20 years, it's the perfect time to act. And just another reason why everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, you've got it, sold by McGain
again.
Want a new kitchen? A kitchen that comes in under budget? Make your project ideas a reality with You Install It Kitchens. And right now, get a huge 20% factory cashback. Custom-sized Farquhar quality cabinetry. Yes, pre-assembled DIY designer kitchens with a 20% factory cashback. But hurry, it's only for a limited time. Visit a showroom today. Modbury, Churchill, Glandore, Norwood and Lonsdale. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 7, the turkey that terrorised shoppers at Para Hills has inspired the $100 Wohlers gift card this morning. When have you had a run-in with a wild animal? Call us right now, 8223 0000. Maybe a run-in with a domestic animal. But a wild animal, a turkey in a shopping centre is not the kind of thing you like to see. So it's got to be something a little bit weird.
I'll tell you what, Will, it's a pity for you that quite clearly you're not allowed to enter competitions that you yourself are running.
Yes.
Because, what was it called again? The Titan triggerfish?
Yeah, the bit half my leg off.
That bizarre-looking fish. It looks like some sort of cross-dressing leather jacket. You ever seen you needless to say, have seen it. You saw it attached to your body.
I saw a number of them.
But it's weird. It looks like a leather jacket that's got sort of drag queen eyelashes.
And dentures.
And dentures, yeah.
It looks like it's got giant human teeth. It's weird. Anyway, I try not to think about it because I'm not sure I'm entirely psychologically recovered. The physical wounds have healed.
Imagine being on the zipper and being attacked by a Titan triggerfish.
Now, hang on. That's not funny yet. It actually makes me feel uncomfortable in all sorts of places. 8223 0000 is the number for the $100 Wohlers gift card. The other thing we've been asking you this morning to call in is if you've ever met Prince Philip. They came to Adelaide 13 times. And Jared, the secretary of the Morphettvale RSL's just called in. Jared, good morning to you. You met the Duke of Edinburgh.
Morning, gents. Yes, I did. Not here in Adelaide, though. I'm fortunate enough to have met him in Buckingham Palace down the Queen.
Oh, wow. How did that come about, Jared? What a huge honour.
As well as my role as secretary, I'm also, my father-in-law is the Keith Payne VC, Victoria Cross.
Yeah, right. Okay.
He's a living VC, and every 2 years they have a reunion of the Victoria Cross and George Cross Association.
So
and
the line went a bit sketchy then, Jared. Did you say your father is a VC winner? Father-in-law.
And he's not a winner. He didn't win a chook raffle. He's a recipient.
A recipient.
Yes.
Good point to clarify.
So, yes, he's Keith Payne VC is my father-in-law. And so I had the pleasure of escorting him over to Buckingham Palace every 2 years they go and they take a different family member, and I've been over to Buckingham Palace and met both the Queen and Prince Philip.
Wow. So what was that conversation like?
It's just general, because he doesn't know a great deal about us.
Yes.
So mine with him was, how was your flight? It is a long flight from Australia. And have you recovered from it?
Yeah, reasonable. The sort of same questions everyone would ask after you've travelled halfway across the room.
He works his way up and down the room. You get the Queen first, and then he does the other side, and they swap over, and you get him, and the Queen goes to the other side.
Oh, what a thrill.
Where was your father-in-law serving when he received the Victoria Cross, Jared?
He was in Vietnam. He was part of the training team, the most decorated team in Australian history.
Wow.
Jared, that's fantastic, mate. Thank you for calling us.
Cool.
I'll tell you what.
Not a problem.
We might be giving away a few Wollers this morning because you've got one. We said we'll give away to anyone who gets who calls in that's met Prince Philip, and we'll give one away too in a moment for people that have had a run in on a very different subject matter, running with a wild animal. Wasn't our intention to have these things running right into each other, but here we are.
Hey, something for both sides of the brain here at the $5 Breakfast Show.
Oh, he's trying to please everyone. Mark in West Croydon also has met Prince Philip. Morning, Mark.
Good morning, gentlemen. I was 12 years old, still at primary school, and one of the local Josephite schools in the western suburbs, and the nun chose to take us to I was going to say Parliament House, a government house, where there were literally thousands and thousands of young kids that were along the driveway inside of Government House there to wave to Prince as he walked past. And would you believe, out of those thousands, there were two of us in our group that he's walked straight up to and shook our hands and wanted to know our names, and because of my ethnicity, wanted to know where I was from, and said Malta, and before I knew it, he's telling me all about Malta and his time there. It was wonderful.
What a fantastic experience, Mark. How old were you at the time, you reckon, mate?
I was 12, David.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just 12. But I've always remembered it, you know. It's just been was just a lovely, and he was just delightful. And,
yeah. Did he feel like he sort of had the common touch? Like, was he easy to talk to?
Oh, very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy to talk to. Yeah, lovely man.
That's a great story,
That is a fantastic story, Mark. Thank you. Keep them coming in, folks. We suspect there's a few out there that have had run-ins with the Prince, that have met him over, maybe not with his 13 visits to South Australia. Maybe it's one of the 35-odd visits to Australia, or indeed, like Jared. I can't imagine there's too many people that went and met him at Buckingham Palace. But look, if you did, we'd love to hear from you this morning. 8223 0000 is the number. Or if you're on the move, text us the story through on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, 0448 08 1395.
Jane Riley's been in Buckingham Palace. I don't think...
Is there anywhere Jane hasn't been?
No, not really, actually. She's an AO.
Yeah. I think the Queen talks about the time she met Jane Riley.
Actually, I'm not sure if she's met the Queen, has she?
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I'll text her during the 7 o'clock news.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that. We've got the news coming up in a moment. Remember, you can watch along on the 5AA Facebook or YouTube live stream right along the morning, and you can leave your comments there as well. We're going to take a break, 5AA News. Then on the other side of it, we'll speak with Phoebe Bowden in the UK ahead of Prince Philip's funeral this Saturday. And also, we'll cross to WA. It's early there, but I imagine they're getting a sense of what the cyclone has meant for the town's sort of 600 k's north of Perth, a bit north of Geraldton, albeit it's still a Category 2 strength wind in Geraldton. It's around the 120 k an hour mark. The 170 k's is Category 3, which is what it was when it made landfall. It's a serious situation. One of the latest for you on it right after this.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Prince Harry has arrived in London ahead of Prince Philip's funeral this weekend. He's been taken to Kensington Palace after a British Airways flight from California. UK correspondent Malcolm Stewart says the service will be held under strict COVID restrictions.
Now, in theory, Harry will have to stay in quarantine for 10 days, but this can be varied for exceptional circumstances, and obviously this is one. The original plan, approved by the Duke himself, was for his coffin to lay in St James's Palace in London for public tribute before being taken back to Windsor. Now, afterwards, his coffin will lie in the royal vault of the chapel until the Queen dies. Then Philip's coffin will be interred alongside hers there.
Prince Andrew has spoken about the death of his father for the first time. He says the family is doing all they can to support the Queen.
She described it as having left a huge void in her life. But we, the family, the ones that are closer, are rallying round to make sure that we're there to support her.
A car fire at Holden Hill is being treated as arson. The Commodore station wagon was torched on Grand Junction Road just before 9 last night. Investigations are continuing. An alleged prowler has been picked up in the northern suburbs. A Wynvale resident raised the alarm on Brunswick Terrace late last night, hearing noises in their backyard and seeing a man walk past. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it didn't end there.
Now, there were additional reports of similar suspicious activity coming from neighbouring properties in Surrey Downs. Police swarmed the area, conducted a search and located the suspect on Pauline Drive at Surrey Downs with some minor injuries to his hands and head.
A 47-year-old of no fixed address has been charged with 4 counts of being unlawfully on premises and will front court today. Doctors are calling for more clarity on the new guidelines for the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine. The formula is no longer the preferred option for those under 50 due to possible links to very rare cases of blood clots. Doctors are allowed to administer it to younger people if they believe the benefits outweigh the risks and are being reassured they won't be sued if serious side effects emerge. Australian Medical Association President Dr Omar Khorshid says there needs to be a clearer approach.
We certainly think that consistency of communication, consistency of message and continuing to promote the safety of this vaccination program, the importance of getting it right, is critical.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $300 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Another good weekend for the Crows, Tom Wren?
Yeah, it certainly was, Mel, that's for sure. Adelaide's impressive start to the season continuing after recording a third win in 4 games. The Crows trailed by 4 points at the final change but slammed on 8-1 in the final term to win by 41 points. Coach Matthew Nix delighted with the response from his players.
It's great for reward, but the belief is the biggest part. They believe in themselves at the moment. They trust the work they've done. They embrace the game plan. By no means are we getting it perfect. That's the challenge of becoming a real contender, is to get it right for 4 quarters.
2 other games to wrap up round 4 yesterday, with Melbourne jumping to a 4-0 start for the first time since 1994 after beating Geelong by 25 points, while Fremantle held on to get over Hawthorn by 15 points. And the Crows women will be sweating on another concussion test for Chelsea Randall, which could see her still play in Saturday's grand final against Brisbane. The Crows will be looking to claim their 3rd premiership in 5 years. To golf, and Aussie Mark Leishman is running out of time to claim the US Masters at Augusta. He's currently 4 under with half a dozen holes to play, putting him a whopping 8 shots behind Japan's Hideki Matsuyama. To soccer, and Manchester United's faint title hopes remain alive following a spirited 3-1 win against Tottenham. In other matches, Arsenal smashed Sheffield United 3-0, Newcastle beat Burnley 2-1, while West Ham overcame Leicester 3-2. And in some cricket to finish, New South Wales are the One Day Cup champions after smashing WA by 102 runs in yesterday's final. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Expect a few delays around Door Park, Pasadena this morning. The intersection upgrade of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road is causing a few delays. They're asphalting there at the moment. Detours in place and speeds down to 25 k's. Burst Waterway also causing delays around Holden Hill. That's at Grand Junction Road near North East Road. And Freeway, the up track and the down track between Cravers and the Tollgate, that's down to 60 k's. Leave early if you're heading that way. Planning a funeral? Talk with Alfred James Funeral Directors about their prepaid and pre-arranged options. Phone for a free, no obligation quote or visit alfredjames.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
A top of 22 today, mostly sunny. 26 tomorrow, a possible late shower, then back to 21 on Wednesday. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
In the last hour on Adelaide's FIVEaa.
keep hearing this tosh from people like that who work in public health going, well, we are in a lucky position in Australia because we haven't had mass outbreaks, so we don't have the urgency of other countries.
I was in Melbourne over the weekend. You want to see the impact of COVID on a city? My word.
Yeah, what's it like?
It feels like a ghost town still. Still, it doesn't. It's unrecognisable as Melbourne when you walk around. There was a 41-gun salute to honour the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh. It happened here, Australia, in Canberra. Reece Dadow was there in Canberra. Reece, good morning to you, mate.
So it's on the forecourt of Parliament House, and immediately I was quite surprised with the amount of people. The forecourt was pretty packed. The hills, the grass hills lining the forecourt, up towards the big flag that you see on all the pictures.
I think we've been asking you this morning to call in. If you've ever met Prince Philip, Jared, the Secretary of the Morphett Vale RSL's just called in.
Morning, gents. Yes, I did. Not here in Adelaide, though. I'm fortunate enough to have met him in Buckingham Palace down the Queen. So, yes, he's Keith Payne, VC, is my father-in-law, and so I had the pleasure of escorting him over to Buckingham Palace.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7. Jared won a $100 Waller's gift card for being the first to call in with a story about Prince Philip. But he wasn't the last. We've got another. We've got a few more to get to as well. If you were one of the people that met him in his 13 visits to South Australia, give us a call, 8223 0000. James Waller's texted us actually saying, really enjoying the stories, keep them coming.
Yeah, they're terrific stories.
So we'll do that.
I mean, you think about the number of mass public events that he attended. The terrific story earlier about the group of school kids who were there. I would be surprised if there weren't thousands of South Australians who met him. Well, even if it was just a fleeting glimpse.
Yeah, absolutely. They all give you a little insight, and you get a better sense of the man.
Luke's texted in on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line asking, will Prince Philip's funeral be televised? I'm not actually sure if it will, but I think it might actually not be televised because it's not a state funeral. He and true to his, fairly commendably gruff and dismissive character, he made it clear that he wanted a private funeral. He did not want to be feted as some major figure through the honour of a state funeral. So that was already declined. And given that it's a small private gathering for no more than 30 people with the COVID restrictions, I would imagine that none of the people in attendance for something that private would want it to be televised.
9 after 7. Let's cross to the UK. Phoebe Bowden is in London for 10 News First. Phoebe, good morning to you. Just take us through what the weekend's been like in London and the UK broadly following the passing of Prince Philip.
Well, back to Friday when it happened, it was an incredible thing to witness, being out in the street and in the public, watching people just come to an absolute standstill for pretty much everyone in Britain. They've grown up knowing Prince Philip, and so for this news to break, even though it was expected, it still, I think, rattled people. From there, we've seen on Friday afternoon, then Charles came to Windsor, which is where I am now, and where the Queen is. We've then seen Prince Andrew and Prince Edward talk in the last few hours here in the UK. Princess Anne has issued a statement. So we're hearing a little bit more and more each day from members of the royal family. On Saturday, we learned about the funeral plans and the briefing, which I heard you touch on more there, and I'm happy to run you through what I've been told from Buckingham Palace about that. But it's just absolutely incredible to witness what's happening at Windsor. Even though it is a scaled-back affair and because of the pandemic, there is still an outpouring of grief, and there is still huge amounts of scaffolding going up at Windsor Castle ready for the funeral and preparations for that. It's a really bizarre time, though, because mourners keep coming to Buckingham Palace and keep coming to Windsor. They're laying flowers en masse, but then representatives from the royal residences keep picking them up because they're trying to discourage people from coming out and publicly grieving. So it's this really strange time because people are upset and they are mourning, but they're being prevented, I guess, from any kind of public display.
Well, they do seem to be doing it anyway. If the photograph on the front page of the paper here in Adelaide today's any guide, Phoebe, well, tell us what you do know about the funeral. Who's likely to be attending, and is it going to be a public event?
Well, it's going to be capped at 30 people, which is incredibly tight. And over the weekend, Boris Johnson announced that even though as Prime Minister he would ordinarily be invited, that he didn't wish to attend because he would rather a member of the family be there. So, I mean, I think that gives you an idea of just how tight this guest list is. Prince Harry's actually just flown into the UK today. It's Good Sunday here. So Prince Harry is here. Wife Meghan is still in LA because she's heavily pregnant. So we know that he will be there. In terms of the funeral, it has been intricately planned by Prince Philip himself, which is really quite interesting. And one of the elements of it, which I think it shows his character, is there's actually a customised Land Rover that will take the coffin from where it's currently resting within Windsor Castle to St George's Chapel, and that's going to be an 8-minute drive. And then Prince Charles, Princes William and Harry, the family, will follow on foot behind. So all of that will be televised. And quite interestingly, Prince Philip asked for 4 representatives from the Commonwealth nations, for military representatives, to be at the gate to St George's Chapel where the funeral service will be held. One of those is from Australia because he does have those close ties to Australia. I heard you talking before about how he's been to South Australia so many times and so many people have these stories about meeting him. He has tremendous affection, and when we were briefed by Buckingham Palace yesterday, they went to great lengths to talk about his connection with Australia, which I think was really special to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Phoebe, thank you for that. We appreciate you filling us in as to what it's been like there and what the next few days will be like. I'm just seeing online, it does look like it will be televised. I'm not sure who will carry it here in Australia, but it's something that I imagine someone will show somewhere, and we'll get some more detail on that. Phoebe, really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Phoebe Bowden in London for 10 News First. 11:30 p.m. Saturday our time is what it'll be on. I've just had a look at the guides. The reporting suggests it'll be covered on television. Now, whether it's carried live here or not, we'll try and get an answer for you on before 9 o'clock today.
You assume that it would be.
You would think so.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So 11:30 Saturday night our time.
It'll certainly be on all the news channels on Fox. They'll be all over it.
Yeah, absolutely.
On Sky, I mean.
Yep. Margaret is in Flagstaff Hill, and more importantly, has called us because she met Prince Philip. Margaret, when did you meet the Duke of Edinburgh?
Oh, well, it was quite a while ago because I was in Year 7. So there were 2 of us at primary school that got drawn out of a ballot to go, and we 2 stood in the driveway at Government House, and he came over past us and asked us what school we went to and shook our hands. So I remember going home and saying to Mum, I can't wash my hand for a week because I'm sure I thought he was the king or something.
Did you have a chat to him, Margaret, or was it just a fleeting hello handshake and he moved on?
It was just a fleeting moment, like the same with Lady Di when she came to Port Pirie. That was a fleeting moment too, but that was my touch with royalty.
Where were you at school?
South Road Primary.
Oh, okay. South Road Primary. Is that still there?
No,
it's
full
not,
of houses. No, all full of houses now.
Oh, we should form a support group. My old Marion High's all houses now too.
Yeah, there's lots of Facebook pages.
A lot of schools like that. Vermont.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
Good on you, Margaret. Thank you for that. Margaret Flagstaff Hill. Let's go to Hyde Park. Susie's on the line. Morning, Susie.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, well.
Good, thanks, Susie.
That's good. I met Prince Philip as part of the Duke of Edinburgh's award.
Oh, really? Were you a recipient, Susie?
Yes, I was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started it from school, and I actually went down to Port Lars Academy. I asked the store to go down, and I did a painting for him. We had sort of to do things, and I thought, I'll paint because I enjoyed painting. And I thought because it was Prince Philip, I thought I'd do something that would be interesting to him. So I painted Scotch thistles. But I didn't do it with a brush, I did it with a palette knife. And he came over and said, how can you paint without a brush? Because I showed him the finished picture, and he said, oh, can you show me how you did it? So I painted a Scotch thistle for him with a palette knife.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, so he was quite fascinated by that.
So what happened to the painting, Susie?
I think I left it there or gave it to him or something, I can't remember.
Might be in his shed. Who
knows?
knows?
A lot of things in my shed.
What a terrific
That's
story,
a great
Susie.
story, Susie. Thank you for calling us. We're getting some lovely stories about people meeting Prince Philip.
Well, the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, that was the reason why, and without any sense of overstatement, you could describe it as one of the things that cost Tony Abbott his leadership.
Yes.
But when Tony Abbott was Prime Minister and announced that he was awarding a knighthood to Prince Philip, the key reason Tony Abbott gave, and whatever you think of the wisdom of it, I think that the motivation for doing it was valid. Was because of all of the great things that Prince Philip had done through the Duke of Edinburgh Awards for young people like Susie.
Keep them coming in, folks. If you met Prince Philip, we'd love to hear your story. 8223 0000 is the number. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. You can enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 CRV at Australia's #1. That's Dave Potter Honda.
Delays this morning at Door Park, Pasadena, if you're heading into work that way. The intersection upgrade of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road going to cause a few delays. They're asphalting at the moment. Detours in place and speeds down to 25 k's. The freeway down track and up track between Crafers and Tollgate down to 60 for works. And Holden Hill, there's a burst water main. That's at Grand Junction Road near North East Road this morning as well, causing a few delays. The Amazon.com.au autumn sale is live now with great deals. Plus, new customers get free delivery on your first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop Amazon.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
SA Health are going to spend $7 million on an IT system allowing patients to say what they think about their treatment. Now, of course, we have a cash-strapped health system.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Shadow Health Minister Chris Picton.
If the Minister is interested in hearing what people have to say, all he has to do, Leon, is listen to your program. Because day after day, we're having patients call in with their horrible stories of being stuck in hospitals, ramped or in emergency departments.
On 5AA. The Barossa Valley is a great place to visit. You have history, wine, great food, nature, wine. What if you had one extra draw card? Your parents. Retirement units are available in safe and connected neighbourhoods just an hour from the city. We're talking about newly renovated 1, 2 and 3 bedroom homes from around 180k to 300k. They get the vine change and you get another reason to visit the Barossa. Win-win. Talk to your parents today about Barossa Village. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
Jim's Antennas have been doing an incredible job all over SA, helping everyone stay connected, whether you're still working from home, have dodgy TV reception, or need fast, reliable access to the internet. Jim's Antennas are ready to help.
And look, Jim's Antennas are a real lifesaver last year for parents, keeping the kids connected and entertained, fixing poor TV reception, and ensuring smooth access to all those streaming services like Netflix, Stan, Disney, Spotify and more.
They're also the experts to call when it comes to extending the reach of your router, so every room in the house gets a good Wi-Fi signal.
And Jim's have got technicians on the road all over South Australia, so organise a fast fixed price quote today. Call Jim's Antennas on 131 546 or visit jimsantennas.com.au.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. We now have an amazing selection of new season's garments in store. Whether you're looking for everyday wear in skirts, pants, tops, blouses, jackets or knitwear, we have it all in sizes 10 to 24. Also a great choice in special occasion wear. If you're looking for something a little different to wear, come early in the season while we have a great selection. Joyreen Fashions for mothers and daughters, 491 Port Rush Road, Glenunga.
At Lendlease Retirement Villages this May, the kettle's on for personalised tea and tour appointments. See homes, community spaces or learn about contract options. To book, visit teaandtour.com.au or call 1800 550 550.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
20 minutes after 7, Cyclone Seroja made landfall last night, 600 k's north of Perth. Mia Edgerton-Warburton's in Geraldton, covering the story for the Today Show. Mia, good morning to you.
Morning. I'm coming to you by torchlight.
So you'll be very early there, but was it 20 past 4 in the morning, Mia?
It's about 5:50 in the morning, but yeah, it is very early and it's very dark.
So just describe the scene.
Well, as of this,
yeah, there's going to be a bit of that. I think the phone will drop out a little bit. We might just try and get
we're-
Mia back. We'll give her a quick call back on the same line. The problem when you're reporting out of a live cyclone is that sometimes the telecommunications network is not designed to facilitate that conversation. So it was a Category 3 cyclone. This is not. Sometimes we diminish these things. If we're all covering this story because it was happening off the coast of South America, we'd be talking about it much more seriously. It is a serious situation, the likes of which they haven't seen in decades off of WA. Let's give this another crack. Mia, again on the line. You were just talking about what it's like where you are now, Mia.
Yeah. So basically about 800 kilometres of the WA coastline is in lockdown. So that is extremely extensive. That's all the way from Carnarvon to Lance. And if you've been to WA, you'll understand just how large of an area that is. The cyclone made landfall just south of Kalbarri yesterday. It landed as a Category 3. They were absolutely battered with winds of about 170 kilometres an hour. The destruction there is extensive. Homes are gone, walls are down. Our crew was getting completely flooded. Their balcony roof actually ripped off in the night. At about 8:30, we got winds here in Geraldton of about 120 kilometres an hour. 20,000 people are without power this morning. And to give you an idea just how extensive that is, there's about 40,000 people that live in Geraldton as a whole. So it's almost half the entire regional city. And that's making it really difficult for crews to, one, communicate with each other and also assess just how bad the damage is here. It's looking like, because we were a little bit south of that cyclone path, that we're relatively unscathed. There's just sort of fences and trees that are down, but it is now moving inland towards the wheat belt, and those communities, and especially Kalbarri, just aren't built for cyclones. So, this is what people have been talking about for the last few days, whether people would be prepared and just how those homes would stand up in those winds. And it turns out not too well, but we will have aerial support crews coming up at first light this morning from Perth to just get a bit of an assessment of how bad that damage is from the air. So it'll be very interesting and quite scary, to be honest with you, to see just how bad that damage will be.
How loud is it, Mia, covering it? Like, is it intimidating for you as a person there on the scene?
Yeah, it is quite intimidating, especially since it's been quite dark, because all the street lights went out last night about 9 o'clock, and then we just had this wind, and you can just hear it whistling, and we're right on the coastline, and they're not even sure where the coast will be when the light comes up, because there's going to be a lot of beach erosion. Those tides are supposed to come quite high. So it's very loud, especially up north. I mean, I can't imagine how those people would have been feeling, hearing their roofs come off. And because we are in a red alert, those emergency services can't actually go out there and help anybody unless it's safe. So a lot of people have just been left sort of to try and take shelter where they can.
Yeah, it's Mia, great report. Stay safe, and we appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That's Mia Edgerton-Warburton in Geraldton in WA, where it's still very much a live situation. We'll get a better understanding, as Mia says, when air support comes in to see what damage has been wrought. But everyone in Australia at the moment, hoping that the power of this thing dissipates as quickly as possible, and some of those inland homes are spared the wrath of this incredible cyclone.
Geraldton's a pretty big residential area. A lot of people go there to retire. Tens of thousands of people living there, and up and down that bit of the coast as well. So, yeah, fingers crossed that it doesn't destroy too much property and that no one worse gets injured.
Part of the country that Stephen Rowe will know particularly well. He joins us now thanks to North Point Toyota Hillcrest Prospect in Port Augusta. Used vehicle stock always changing at North Point. It's the North Point way. Morning to you, Rowie.
Pembo and Will, good morning. Yeah, it's as flat as a bush biscuit there. A lot of rural farms, so our thoughts are with them. Hey, what a weekend. Port winning a thriller, but at a cost. AFLW Crows into a grand final, but skipper Chelsea Randall out with concussion. Crows kick 8 in the last quarter, roll the Kangas, and 36ers beat the top side. But I think it all pales into insignificance. If Japanese golfer Hideki Matsuyama can win the Masters, he's 5 clear through the 13th hole, be the first Japanese Masters winner. This is a massive story if he can get up fair from the clouds.
Rennie was saying with how crazy they are about golf in Japan, they'll make this a national holiday if he wins the Masters.
Oh, yeah, he's won 5 PGAs. He's a god in Japan. He's bigger than any sumo wrestler. No Japanese golfer has ever led the Masters, let alone maybe go on to win it. And remember, golf's in the Tokyo Olympics, so they'll name a city after him, or a car. Matsuyama,
Sounds good.
Hey? Yeah. Hey, a little bit of a farce is brewing for me, I think. There's a new 12-day concussion protocol. Now, it's going to cost Chelsea Randall a grand final. Sad for the skipper, tough for the Crows team, but this was a welfare rule that everyone abides by. I'm led to believe she's having a cognitive assessment today. If she passes that, they will apply for her to get a release to play in the grand final. Now, I mean, sad for everybody, I get it, but if it's a rule, it's a rule. If it's a protocol, it's a protocol.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No ifs, buts, and candy nuts.
Like, it's not like, you're going to have less effects from concussion because you're about to play a grand final. Like, it's a hard and fast rule-based, to use a very 2021 term, based on the health advice.
Yeah, Crows Lions Saturday, 1:30 Adelaide Oval. Tickets on sale. Get in. You'll absolutely feel the joint. We called the game yesterday. How's that last quarter? That's going to give that team a lot of grit, determination and resilience. 8 goals, a terrific win and confidence. How good show, isn't he, coming on?
He was sensational. He was sensational.
Yeah.
Bit of ice in the veins from young Jay Rowe in that last quarter too, Rowie. That was a very important goal to make Adelaide kick clear.
Yeah, well, look, I think they all, at their time, needed to stand up. It wasn't his day, but you know what? You can make it your moment. I think he did do that. Rory Laird as well. He struck Turner in the third. I hope there's no concern here. Nothing to look at with a bit of luck.
Well, there'd been a bit.
Did you see it?
Yeah, but there'd been quite a bit going on before that.
There was. I think you'd be right. Hey, they sit equal fourth with Port on 3 wins. Hey! Stop it. Nah, stop it.
6 from 7, the way they're going.
Gonna be a good week. Fellas, see it 4.
Good stuff, Rowie.
Stephen Rowe, thanks to North Point Toyota. So but to you can enjoy huge savings and all the wonderful service and support you get at North Point with used vehicle stock always changing. Hillcrest, Prospect, Port Augusta, it is the North Point way.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Want a new kitchen? A kitchen that comes in under budget? Make your project ideas a reality with You Install It Kitchens. And right now, get a huge 20% factory cashback. Custom size Farquhar quality cabinetry. Yes, pre-assembled DIY designer kitchens with a 20% factory cashback. But hurry, it's only for a limited time. Visit a showroom today. Modbury, Churchill, Glandore, Norwood and Lonsdale. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
Of course, a lot of people have put their overseas travel plans on hold, whether it was sunning yourself on the deck of a cruise ship or escaping to a tropical island.
The good news, though, is that while your travel luggage is collecting dust, some new NRG solar panels could be on your roof collecting rays and significantly reducing your power bills.
I like this idea. This is using what has been a truncated holiday period to benefit future holidays.
Yeah, as an opportunity.
Exactly right. If you can't soak up the sun, get in touch with NRG Solar and take a power bill holiday instead.
And look, you'll be astounded at how much money you'll save. And remember, the longer you wait, the more you stand to lose in lost rebates and savings.
And at least the money you've saved for a holiday will be going to work for you. This is the bit I like. Saves you money and perhaps even enough for an even better holiday than the one you had planned. So say bon voyage to your power bills forever. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Port Adelaide are back. And so are we. We're back marching. We're back singing. We're back together. Experience it live, loud, and in person. 3-game memberships from just $100. Grab yours from the Port Adelaide website today. You've got to be there.
For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Get a Nissan Qashqai with Apple CarPlay and a standard 5-year warranty. Plus, when you finance with Nissan Future Value, receive up to 3 years free service. Only at Nissan. T's and C's apply. Approved applicants only.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Prince Harry has arrived in London ahead of Prince Philip's funeral this weekend. The funeral will be a scaled-back affair due to COVID. 10 News' Phoebe Bowden says it hasn't deterred people from paying their respects.
Mourners keep coming to Buckingham Palace and keep coming to Windsor. They're laying flowers en masse. But then representatives from the royal residences keep picking them up because they're trying to discourage people from coming out and publicly grieving. So it's this really strange time because people are upset and they are mourning, but they're being prevented, I guess, from any kind of public display.
While Princes Andrew and Edward have attended a church service in Windsor paying tribute to their father, and Princess Anne has released a statement describing her father as my teacher, my supporter and my critic. Condolence books are available for members of the public to sign at Government House on North Terrace. They'll be forwarded to Buckingham Palace at the end of the week. There's been an arson attack on Grand Junction Road at Holden Hill. A car was torched shortly before 9 last night. It's not clear whether the Commodore station wagon was stolen. Charges have been laid following an alleged prowler being picked up north of the city. He was reported in a yard at Wynvale and Surrey Downs late last night. Senior Constable Dave Muir says they made an arrest nearby.
The 47-year-old of no fixed address was treated at a hospital before being taken to the police station where he was charged with 4 counts of unlawfully on premises. He hasn't applied for bail and he will appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court later today.
There's no longer a time frame for the rollout of the coronavirus vaccine in Australia. More than 1.1 million doses have been administered, but the Prime Minister is refusing to set a target for completing the program. He says it's not possible given the many uncertainties involved. National Centre for Immunisation Research and Surveillance, Dr Professor Christine McCartney, has told Today it's a changeable situation.
I think people want to know when they're going to be vaccinated. It's perfectly natural. But we do have a global constraint of supply of vaccine, and it is going to take some time to get all adults in the world offered a dose.
India has registered another record increase in coronavirus infections with more than 150,000 cases in a day and over 800 deaths. The BBC's Rahini Vinard reports.
With coronavirus cases surging rapidly, officials here now face the dilemma of when and how to lock down certain parts of the country. Writing on Twitter, the top politician in Maharashtra, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, said it was imperative strict restrictions are imposed for a period of time. He said planning was underway to ensure migrant workers who were hit hard in last year's national lockdown would be helped. Some in cities across India are already returning to their villages to escape the virus and to find work. The capital, Delhi, which is also seeing a rapid increase in cases, has announced more restrictions.
And the BAFTAs, the UK equivalent of the Oscars, was held this morning. Anthony Hopkins and Frances McDormand were the big winners. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide has jumped up to 5th and has no fresh injury concerns following a spirited 41-point win against North Melbourne. Port Adelaide will be waiting to see how long Zach Butters and Xavier Dersman will miss after both were injured in Friday night's win against Richmond. To golf, and it looks like it's a 2-horse race as the final round of the US Masters reaches the closing stages. Japan's Hideki Matsuyama leads at 13 under, but playing partner Xander Schauffele has fired 3 straight birdies and is now only 4 back with 4 to play. Leishman a further 4 shots back at 5 under. To soccer, and West Ham's incredible season has continued with their Champions League hopes very much alive after a stunning 3-2 win against Leicester.
Lingard. Souček, and here is Bowen! And West Ham score again, just after half-time. Jared Bowie this time.
The result leaves the Hammers in fourth place, just 1 point behind the Foxes, who are third. Manchester United's locked in second place after a 3-1 win over Tottenham. Arsenal's up to ninth after smashing Sheffield United 3-0, while Newcastle's survival hopes received a huge boost after a 2-1 win against Burnley. Meantime, the Melbourne Victory are the W League champions following a dramatic extra-time win against Sydney FC. The only goal of the game coming in the dying seconds.
Data Wyman under her own crossbar. It's finally beaten. Kyra Cooney Cross with the X Factor has scored from a corner 120 minutes in.
Yeah, great call by Brenton Speed on Fox Sports there. And there were two games in the NBL yesterday, with Illawarra winning a thriller by 2 points over Cairns, while the South East Melbourne Phoenix beat Sydney by 14. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Door Park Pasadena slow going this morning. The intersection upgrade of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road causing a few delays. They're asphalting this morning. Detours in place down to 25 k's. And if you're heading in via 5 Ash Drive, pretty hard going this morning. Burst Watermain, Holden Hill, that's a Grand Junction Road near North East Road. And also the freeway this morning. That's between Crafers and the toll gates. Speeds down to 60 k's, causing delays on the down track as you're heading into work. KFC's $4.95 fill-up is now available for delivery. It's got hot cinnamony Kentucky Fried Donuts too. Only on the KFC app. Offer only delivered in SA and not forever till 4 p.m. Adelaide most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Mostly sunny, 22 today, up to 26 tomorrow, but a late shower. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8. It is today the 12th of April, the 28th of April. Later this month will mark 25 years since the Port Arthur massacre, and the former Prime Minister, John Howard, he's done an interview with News Limited, and part of it's made news over the weekend because it has to do with a very current story. He said, we mustn't allow the National Firearms Agreement to be frittered away. There are some concerns that elements of it have been diminished, haven't been taken on in the way that the idea was first raised at the time. And while things like semi-automatics are banned, are they as strong today as they were in the aftermath of Port Arthur massacre and that hard-won political battle from the former Prime Minister? Philip Alpers is the director of gunpolicy.org and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Philip, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Those comments by former Prime Minister John Howard about what I think most people, be they Labor, Liberal, Green or independent voters, would regard as one of his greatest legacies, as the architect of those laws, he has every right to be frustrated, does he not, about the fact that there are still loopholes in it that are rendering them less safe than they should be?
He does have every right to feel frustrated. He came back from the Port Arthur funerals, like most Australians, having shed a tear, and immediately declared that there would be, for example, a firearm registry across the country to register all firearms just as we register all cars. That hasn't happened. There's not a single... The 4 consecutive formal reports have now found that not a single Australian state or territory has at any stage fully complied with the National Firearms Agreement of 1996, and most of them have slipped backwards.
So in a policy sense, Philip, what are the repercussions of that failure to have a register?
It's a gradual whittling away. The gun lobby tries in every state and territory every year, sometimes with the balance of power, to try and just weaken the laws just a little bit here, a little bit there. They've been nibbling away at the edges. The 3 pillars of gun control are still intact in Australia. We still have certainly the most comprehensive set of gun laws in the world. But there's constant pressure, and the main enemy, of course, will be complacency. If Australians think that the problem's been solved, they're wrong. There's always pressure to whittle down the gun laws.
Do you think? Do you think the rise of these shooters parties. I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, look, they're just representing farmers and recreational shooters, people who want to go out target shooting or what have you, and are responsible firearm owners. But do you see that there's an element within those parties that is starting to have a bit of a sort of American-style NRA type focus?
We've always had quite a strong gun lobby in Australia, and they've always been very frustrated at the National Firearms Agreement, John Howard's gun agreement back in '96. They regard that as a great inconvenience, and their main arguments are always about convenience, about how it inconveniences shooters, and they've been working away at weakening it for a couple of decades. They will succeed in various places. They're not as powerful as the NRA and probably never will be because the Australian public is so much against them. Every time there's a shooting, they just look at the polls, the people who want the gun laws tightened even further. Around about Port Arthur, that was 90 to 95% of the Australian population. And they look at that and they think, we can't do much here. But, they spent $500,000 trying to influence a Queensland election recently. They didn't get anywhere. But they've got a lot of money around, and as soon as they get the opportunity, they will.
Is there a big legislative fight on the horizon that you see anywhere, Philip, in any of the states?
No, nothing at all. Okay. It's all pretty minor. But, as I say, if there isn't a current shooting in everybody's mind and people relax and a little law is passed in one state which allows people to shoot in national parks or to shoot with silencers or to use, as they're now doing in Queensland, to use more and more semi-automatic so-called assault rifles to shoot pests. That just gradually whittles away, and one day we may have less strong gun laws than we had in '96.
Well said. Philip Alpers, Director of gunpolicy.org, joining us on 5AA Breakfast.
Can't believe it's 25 years. It feels like it was only yesterday.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I got to Canberra a month after that happened, and the very first thing that I ever interviewed John Howard about was gun laws. And I can remember when he went to Sale in Victoria. It was a Sunday, and we're all sitting there at work in the press gallery. And the photos came through, and one of the photographers came over to me and he said, "Look at this photograph. He's wearing a bulletproof vest," because he had the tweed jacket on, but you could see the shot from behind. And it was a crazy time politically, because one of the things that really helped the One Nation Party become the juggernaut that it did was that so many of the gun groups around Australia immediately went, well, if the Nationals are going to side with the Liberals on this, we're going to start looking around for another party to represent us. But, just remarkable political courage by John Howard and particularly Tim Fischer, knowing how unpopular it was in rural areas, that Tim Fischer in the national interest went, this is something we've just got to do.
Yeah. 16 minutes to 8. We've been asking you right throughout the morning if you've ever met Prince Philip, to give us a call. Made 13 visits to South Australia, 35 to Australia, largely as part of the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. We've already heard from a recipient. Paul in Mount Barker's called in. Paul, when did you meet Prince Philip?
Back in 1986, my family were fortunate enough to have a business that was situated on the foreshore that was redeveloped by the council and BHP, and they were both in Whyalla to commemorate the opening of that. And we got to work at a function. My family were, again, fortunate enough to be asked to cater and staff the official function at the Whyalla City Council chambers.
Oh, really?
So we got to meet them there, which was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Did you get to serve him a drink or something, Paul?
My brother-in-law did. I was actually looking after his table that had because I believe when they travel, all their entourage goes with them. So even though they weren't on the official yacht, the captain of the yacht travels with them, the lady in waiting, and I had that table. But my sister and brother-in-law certainly did. And one quick story, he part of the menu obviously was wine and so forth, but no beer. And he sat down at the table and said he was dying for a beer, and we panicked and we gone, well, the beer's not on the menu, what do we do? So my brother-in-law bolted down the back stairs across the road to the Spencer Hotel in Whyalla and grabbed the lukewarm Southwark Bitter, long neck, and brought it back, and he enjoyed a green death at Wales City Council chambers.
That is excellent.
Oh, that's a fantastic story.
He was quite famous for not liking wine. Because he was I was reading in a list of some of the memorable things he said. He was at a function in Italy, in Rome, with the then Prime Minister Giuliano Amato. This is in 2000, and he was being offered all these fantastic Italian Barolos and Sangioveses, all these really expensive Italian wines, and he just looked at the Italian Prime Minister and he said, "Just get me a beer. I don't care what kind it is. Just get me a beer."
Well, he certainly swilled one of our state. What do you call it? Our popular beer out there. An icon beer, a Green Death, exactly
Good
right.
on you, Paul. What a great story.
Bitter.
So many great stories will come from catering about, all manner of people. There's one that was printed in a US paper over the weekend from someone who was a former caterer at the White House, who told the story when Prince Philip was there for an official engagement. At one point in time, he sort of sauntered off in one of the other side rooms where no one was in. And one of the waiting staff, who tells the story now, said, he went in there and thought, was he lost? Does he not know where he is? And he clearly just wanted a moment away from the crowd. And he said, can I grab a drink? And the waiter went to go get it, and he goes, actually, he goes, I'd like to make my own drink, and I'd like to make you a drink. And the waiter went, I don't know if that's proper. And said, well, come on, I'm going to pour you a drink. So he went, all right. So they slid in this side room of the White House. Him and one of the waiters had a drink and a chat for a little while. He was just over the official engagement, just needed to have a chat with another real human being. And the guy always remembers he was served a drink by royalty, which is a nice story. Don in Morford Vale, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yes, I met Prince Philip at the British, the first of the British Empire and the end of the Commonwealth Games in Perth in 1962.
Oh, wow, Don.
What were you doing there, Don?
I went over with boxing, and when all that was over, there were quite a few of us out in a back room having a beer, and as men do, we were telling jokes, and next thing this chap telling the joke stopped, and this fellow walked in and he said, "Carry on, my good man, I may not have heard that one."
you said...
It was Prince Philip.
Wow.
And then one of the cheeky buggers there said, "Would you like a beer?" He said, "I'd love one."
So he had a beer with you all?
So he had a beer with us, and a little bit later on, I suppose 4 or 5 minutes, there was a bit of a siren went off, and the whole place got locked down because he'd slipped his minders or whatever they were.
Oh, security detail. He ended up knocking around with the Aussie boxers.
And the whole place got shut down until they found him.
So were you competing?
What a great story.
Are you a boxer, Don? Were you competing?
Yes, yeah.
How did you go, Don?
Reasonably well. Finished up with a bronze medal.
Oh, well done.
Oh, Don.
What a great story, Don.
That's fantastic, mate.
But, that was quite funny when the whole place got locked out.
Were you ever in the Olympics as well, Don? Were you in the Olympic team or just the Commonwealth team?
No.
What weight did you fight at, Don?
Lightweight.
Okay, fantastic.
Excellent.
Hey, Don, thanks. Great to speak to you, mate.
Great call, Don.
No worries.
Okay. We got it. We got in the same call. We get someone who met Prince Philip and a former bronze medalist at the Commonwealth Games.
How good was that?
What a thrill. 11 to 8. Keep the calls coming in. 8223 0000. We've heard from Duke of Edinburgh, an artist who's called in this morning, an award winner. And...
See, they're all good calls, and the great thing about these calls is that they're all local voices. They're all South Australian people, Adelaide people, but they're actually the cumulative sort of conclusion that you draw from all of these calls. You know, the bottle of Southwark Bitter and talking to Don was. It fits with the bigger picture that we've heard about Prince Philip over the last sort of two and a half days, which was there's a man who's committed to public service, but he actually likes sort of pulling back from it and having a quiet chat to normal people.
Yeah, that's right. Not a standoffish, uppish sort of royal.
Yeah.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 HRV at Australia's #1, Dave Potter Honda.
Door Park Pasadena this morning causing a few delays around the intersection of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road. They're asphalting there at the moment. A detour is in place, speeds down to 25 and pretty hard going on the drive-in on FIVEaa Drive. Burst water main at Holden Hill. That's a Grand Junction Road near North East Road. And the freeway this morning between Crafers and the Tollgate, speeds 60 k's both ways. Kennard Tire is making trade easy with a 2-hour delivery promise, express loading and go service, plus heaps more. Visit your local Kennard's Hire branch today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for more than 35 years. That's why so many South Australians look to us for real estate advice. Right now, we're working with 5,711 buyers in North Adelaide, 5,377 in Ross Trevor, and 5,280 buyers in Hindmarsh, all searching for their perfect property. If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers we're working with in your suburb, call us today on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
We've all been on the road trip from hell. Car breaks down, map says go this way, but you went that way, and countless "are we there yet?" The same can be said for home renos. Nobody wants a nightmare on their way to a stunning new kitchen or bathroom. So if you want everything to go according to plan, go with Buy Urban. They've always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
Where can you find dragons, a cat and a mouse, a very naughty bunny, and a whole ark full of adorable and unusual animals these school holidays? Well, of course, David, I'm talking about Wallace Cinema.
That's right, the movies are back, and these school holidays there are loads of great choices. Wallace Cinema is also where you'll find amazing entertainment and a great value candy bar with treats for the whole family.
See movies how they should be seen. Here, get candy bar value like you've never seen these school holidays and every day at Wallace.
No substitute for actually being there at the films. Get back to the big screen at Wallace Cinema, Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga, Piccadilly and Mainline Drive-In. Book now at wallace.com.au.
G'day South Australia, it's Sheets here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
With half off flights, it's time for a full-on snorkel, full-on rainforest, or a full-on bite to eat. Plan your full-on holiday at australia.com. Book with your airline or travel agent of choice before tickets sell out. Terms and conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 8. For those that thought the Masters were a foregone conclusion, things have tightened up considerably. Golf has a funny habit of doing this. Matsuyama now just 2 strokes clear from Xander Schauffele with 3 holes to play. It was about 5 strokes the difference for most of this final round. The public holiday in Japan might be on hold momentarily. Just have to wait and see what happens.
It's just an evil game, isn't it?
Oh, it's the cruelest.
You versus your own brain, golf.
It's so cruel, terrible. 6 to 8, Amelia Mulcahy chuckling away in the background there. Morning to you, Amelia.
It's funny. Sorry, it's an evil game. Not keen on golf either, guys.
No.
See, I love it, but you just got to not care. I played at Wollonga about 3 months ago with a mate, and I got a par, a birdie, and then I got 12. And my 9-iron almost got stuck in a tree. It was just terrible. Soul destroying. But, the trick is not minding. Yes, exactly.
Hey, Amelia, I was in Melbourne on the weekend and I was reminded what winter's like. It was about 15 degrees and raining, and I thought, oh, that's right. It's actually really no fun. How far away are we off from that kind of stuff, do you think?
Yeah, look, we've got quite a lovely start to the school holidays today, but you want to get a pretty good idea of the rest of the forecast this week to sort of plan accordingly. We've got a nice sort of sunny day today. Cold start, though. Our coldest so far this year, down to 7.8 degrees, 6 degrees in the northern suburbs, 2.6 at Newry, and it dropped below a degree in the southeast, Keith and Penberthy there. But we've got, some clear skies and sort of warmer and drier northeasterly winds, and that'll help us, beat the cold and get up to about 22 degrees today. Then we've got winds strengthening tomorrow, and they're those sort of northeasterly winds again, so that'll bump us up to probably about 26 degrees, but it'll probably bump up the fire danger too. At this stage, it looks like about 9 districts across the state are going for severe fire danger. Now, that usually equates to a total fire ban. The CFS will confirm that later on today. So we're seeing that ahead of a change. Now, that'll lead to sort of a wetter and much cooler and more Melbourne-like end to the week. So shower or two Wednesday, maybe a couple of millimetres worth there, possible shower Thursday, dry day Friday, but then it looks like we've got a cooler and, shower or two on both days of the weekend. So a grey weekend ahead. We've only had 2 millimetres so far this month, and we're almost sort of a fortnight in. For April, usually we see about 44 millimetres on the gauge, so we've got a bit of work to do, so we can welcome these showers, I suppose. Then at least we've got a bit of sunshine today and tomorrow to kick off the school holidays. So, at least part of tomorrow, those showers that we're expecting tomorrow, if at all, we'll see much later in the day. So good chance to get out today, good chance to get out tomorrow, but then more Melbourne-like weather later in the week, we'll say.
Good on you, Amelia.
Thanks, Amelia.
Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News with all the info about the weather ahead for the rest of the week. Right now, though, it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And so it is written in those days of AFL rule in the kingdom of Gillen. There was a disciple who was a simple tailor called Walker. And it is known in that time that all the people did cry out, "Do not let him stay, for he is old and slow, and lo, he is not the same as before." And it did look that his career was as death. And then in those days there did come a Saviour who promised to lead his people out of the darkness and into the light. And he was Matthew, who was called Nixie. And Nixie did say, "Verily I tell you that we shall take the last high place, which is the grand final in days of the future, on that sacred ground that they did call the MCG. He said, I shall visit Walker the tailor, and I shall raise him from the dead, and make him a fisher of goals. And then we shall know the fruit of the harvest. And yea, verily, we shall have travelled from that spoon which was fashioned from wood, to a shined cup from which we can drink, for we thirst for victory." And so it is written that Matthew, called Nixie, did lay his hands upon the tailor. And the tailor rose from the dead. And soon the news had spread to the farthest corners of the land. And the people did say, "Yea, for Tex is back," for 'twas his nickname. Now the people believed in the second coming of the Walker, for it was happening before their eyes. And now they were true believers.
At times it has felt a little biblical, the resurrection of Taylor Walker this year.
The
Was that
feel-good
Ben-Hur?
story
Is
of...
that
I think it was Ben-Hur,
the
yeah.
theme of some of the score of Ben-Hur?
Yeah.
Not sure. Blake, you'll let us know.
Yep.
It's a minute to 8, 5AA News on the way. Back shortly.
When people walk through the doors at Powell's, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Powell's, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
G'day to warm nights. G'day to the great outback. G'day to seaside escapes. G'day to the open road.
There's no better time to hit the road with over 40 holiday parks in South Australia and over 280 Australia-wide. G'day Parks has the greatest choice of holiday parks in the greatest destinations. Plan and book your next trip at g'dayparks.com.au and say g'day to more of Australia.
Here we go, Will. Walco.
Oh, Blanky.
Walco.
I'm learning this. Blanky.
Yep. It's easy to learn. It's only 2 words, and I repeat one, you repeat the other.
Yep.
Walco Blanky. It's Walco Blanky time, I reckon. The heat is behind us. Now, Walco Blanky, it's a game we hear in the evenings right across Adelaide. Proud pool owners putting their pool to sleep.
Yep, it's become part of the Aussie way of life. Long evenings, the magpies warbling and putting your Walco blanket over your pool.
But winter is coming. No more long shadows. It's time for the Walco Guardian pool cover.
Yep, sure, the fun ends, but you know your pool is looked after during winter with a Walco Guardian pool cover.
It'll seal off your chemicals from the light, keep your water clean, and you won't need your pump at all, saving you megabucks.
So get your pool a Walco Guardian for winter now. Your pool will thank you for it. Walco.com.au.
Be warm at home with Harvey Norman. Get snug with Sunbeam Feel Perfect Micro Plush Heated Throw, only $89. Get cosy with the Dimplex Ritz Electric Flame Effect Heater, $349. New DeLonghi 2400 Watt Dragon 4 Pro Oil Column Heater, $379. Check out the new energy-efficient wind-free 2.5 kilowatt reverse air conditioner, 6-star rating, $999, plus get a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card. Be warm at home with Harvey Norman.
Go! Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today and a top of 22 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Planning is well underway for Prince Philip's funeral this weekend. Only 30 people will be attending due to COVID restrictions, including Prince Harry, who flew into London this morning. 10 News UK correspondent Phoebe Bowden says Prince Philip organised many of the finer details himself.
One of the elements of it which shows his character is there's actually a customised Land Rover that will take the coffin from where it's currently resting within Windsor Castle to St George's Chapel, and that's going to be an 8-minute drive. And then Prince Charles, Prince William and Harry's family will follow on foot behind. So all of that will be televised.
Members of the royal family have attended a church service at the Royal Chapel of All Saints in Windsor. Princes Edward and Andrew spoke about the outpouring of support following Prince Philip's passing at the age of 99. The youngest of the Duke's 4 children, the Earl of Wessex, says their father's death has been a shock.
However much one tries to prepare oneself for something like this, it's still a dreadful shock, and we're still trying to come to terms with that. And it's very, very sad.
A car fire at Holden Hill is under investigation. A Commodore station wagon was torched on Grand Junction Road last night. It happened around 9 p.m. Cyclone Saroja has weakened to a Category 2 system after making landfall in WA, but it's left a trail of destruction and blackouts. Premier Mark McGowan says the Commonwealth is ready to step in and help if required.
And that's predominantly aircraft. We're also securing support from other states in terms of emergency crews and the like. So we're treating this very seriously. We're not taking any precautions here. If we need more support from the Commonwealth, we won't hesitate to ask for it, and I've advised the Prime Minister of that.
A senior government minister is defending Australia's vaccine distribution plan after rollout targets were scrapped. The Prime Minister says the government doesn't plan to set a new target for when all Australians will receive their first dose of a COVID vaccine because of uncertainties involved. Agriculture Minister David Littleproud has told Today people should have confidence in the systems in place.
Australia has been calm and methodical about making sure that we give the best vaccine with confidence, and however long it takes, it takes. But Australians want that confidence, and I think we shouldn't panic. It's not a race. We're getting the job done.
Outsourcing is being put on trial today as the Transport Workers Union takes Qantas to court for outsourcing 2,000 jobs. The federal court case was brought by the TWU and renowned waterfront dispute lawyer Josh Bornstein, claiming the outsourcing was unlawful under the Fair Work Act. The TWU's Michael Caine says Qantas needs to be held to account.
What we expect and hope that the court will do is rule that under the cover of COVID, Qantas has made an illegal decision here to cut the terms and conditions of these workers that they're entitled to under their union agreement and push them to outside work. And again, this is a critical moment in time for our community.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $300 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr. Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Footy first, and Adelaide's players will enjoy the day off as they begin to look ahead to next week's clash against Fremantle at home. The Crows are sitting in 5th place on the ladder after a 41-point win against North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. 2 other games yesterday with Melbourne 25-point winners over Geelong, while Fremantle had a 15-point win over Hawthorn. Well, there's some late drama in the final round of the US Masters at Augusta. Japan's Hideki Matsuyama was leading playing partner Xander Schauffele by 7 shots with 7 holes to play, but Schauffele has since gone on a birdie blitz while Matsuyama has just hit the water on the 15th hole. The Japanese commentators riding every moment.
向こうの池もある向こうの池もある16番の池に捕まったここで松山
Now, that only left him with a 2-shot lead with 3 holes to play, but incredibly, Schauffele has now found the water on the next hole, meaning Matsuyama is in the box seat once more. Aussie Mark Leishman almost made a hole-in-one on the par 3 16th. He's now 6 under in a tie for 5th. To soccer, plenty of EPL action on this morning with Manchester United keeping its faint title hopes alive following a 3-1 win against Tottenham. The Red Devils are still 11 points behind neighbours Manchester City, but still have a game in hand. In other matches, Arsenal 3-0 winners over Sheffield United. Newcastle beat Burnley 2-1, while West Ham overcame Leicester 3-2. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Look out for Praying Eden Hill, Shepherd's Hill Road near Brook Drive. Door Park St Mary's, the intersection upgrade there of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road. Detours in place. It's down to 1 lane both ways. That is causing big delays, so avoid the area if you can. And a burst water main, Holden Hill, Grand Junction Road near North East Road. As Australia recovers from COVID-19, Australian mining is still backing small business. Find out more at minerals.org.au. There's more to Australian mining. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
22 for your Monday and mostly sunny. 26 tomorrow with a possible late shower. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
And let's cross to the UK. Phoebe Bowden is in London for 10 News First.
It was an incredible thing to witness, being out in the street and in the public, watching people just come to an absolute standstill. Pretty much everyone in Britain, they've grown up knowing Prince Philip, and so for its news to break, even though it was expected, it still, I think, rattled people.
Cyclone Seroja made landfall last night, 600 k's north of Perth. Mia Edgerton-Warburton's in Geraldton for the Today Show.
800 kilometres of the WA coastline is in lockdown, all the way from Carnarvon to Lance. And the cyclone made landfall just south of Kalbarri yesterday. It landed as a Category 3.
Later this month will mark 25 years since the Port Arthur massacre. Philip Alpers is the director of gunpolicy.org and joins us on 5AA.
The 4 consecutive formal reports have now found that not a single Australian state or territory has at any stage fully complied with the National Firearms Agreement of 1996.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8, you don't need to be bi or multilingual to understand the anguish of a sports fan. And Tom Wren in 5AA News playing the Japanese commentary of Hideki Matsuyama finding water with just holes to play at the Masters. That was sensational. That was, you could hear them, you couldn't speak a word of it, didn't understand a word of it, but I could hear the moment it was heading towards the water, the moment they weren't sure if it was going to roll in, and the moment it ultimately did.
So the bloke who's breathing down his neck, though, he went into the drink on the next hole, though.
Yeah, he did, Xander Schauffele. Yeah.
So they're two holes to play, and the Japanese guy's 2 strokes in front.
Matsuyama's 2 shots clear of Jordan Spieth. Of an American competitor, Zalatoris, who's finished. He's just finished his round, actually. So he's got 2 holes to play. He's 2 shots clear.
How nerve-wracking.
It's brutal. It's such a brutal sport.
I wouldn't be able to hold the club.
No.
You
Imagine
just go
the
to
pressure.
water, wouldn't you?
Imagine the pressure. 10 after 8, 8223 0000 our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. A lot of fantastic calls this morning. We've been asking you, have you ever met Prince Philip? Turns out lots of listeners have, and almost every single one of them has had a fantastic story around how that meeting took place and what the exchange was. It's been noted on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line that one lesson we can learn from these calls, Rick from Nord says, if you drink plenty of beer, you live to be 99. There's been a few beers that have been the centre of some of these stories. Give us another call if you've met Prince Philip, 8223 0000. We're giving away a $100 Wohlers gift card too after 8:30 this morning, inspired by the turkey making an uninvited appearance at the Para Hills Shopping Centre and terrorising the people there. When you've had a run-in with a wild animal, the weirder the better. Real weird stuff after 8:30. We'll give away a $100 Wohlers gift card then. It's time for Breaking It 8.
Well, today's Breaking It 8 is a bit more detail about the goings-on in Joslin at the new Chinese consulate. Now, one of the things that a number of locals said to me when I went out there for the first time about 5 weeks ago and tapped into what is a genuine and widespread sense of disbelief at the fact that such a vast compound has been plonked there in the middle of suburbia, and obviously a lot of issues being raised during the construction process by locals. Well, some people said to me they worry that having the consulate there, given how controversial China is and how there's so many different groups that have got so many different grievances with China, that the building itself might become something of a magnet for ongoing protest. Now, it was 2 Tuesdays ago. We saw that very large and very spirited protest led by the East Turkestan Association here in Adelaide, which represents the Uyghurs, but also supported by Hong Kongers, people from Taiwan, people from Vietnam, people from Myanmar. There were also locals taking part in the protest as well, and a lot of, average Australians who had their own human rights or trade-related concerns with China too. Well, I got an interesting text on Friday by one of the locals who, along with several others, has sort of become our eyes and ears there on 4th and 5th Avenue, tipping us into the latest goings-on as the consular staff go about their business. Now, this resident was just heading home from doing something as mundane as going down to the local supermarket, and as she was returning to her house, she saw that there was a group of about a dozen members of South Australia's Uyghur community who, on a whim, decided to go out there and stand out the front of the compound with their big placards and signs and blue and white East Turkestan flags, do a bit of chanting. And she sent me a photograph of it and said, it's hardly a major disruption, but it just feels like this is it's become the most obtrusive thing in what was one of the quietest parts of town. And with this sort of defeatist sort of tone in her voice, she said, I guess this is just what we have to live with now, that, every other week when we're coming home from the shops, the regional geopolitical tensions involving China are going to be being played out in our front yards.
Just again, it's another case in point of why it's just ridiculous having a major embassy in the suburbs. And unfortunately, it happens to be one where we do have some ideological differences. And it's going to be given to the odd protest. It's not the Canadian embassy.
No. And look, I'm sure that right now the Labor Party is taking a degree of mirth in the awkwardness that it created for Stephen Marshall, where he was invited to open it and went out there and being the sort of, genial bloke that he is, says, all right, well, they've asked me and we've still got a relationship of sorts with them, so I'll go out there and, pull the little curtain on the consular open sign. But you've got to wind it back to the decision of the former Labor government to hand this whole project over to the state's Coordinator General and say, all right, let's just give this thing the green light. I mean, in the middle of the city, sure, or in a different part of town that isn't some built-up residential area, particularly a heritage area where people have got their hands tied about what they can do. Like if you put up the wrong fence in Joslin that offends the sort of federation stylings of the area, you'll have the council breathing down your neck. But 3 metre high reinforced concrete walls with security cameras on them, no problem.
All right, let's check traffic. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on 2021 CRV at Australia's #1 Dave Potter Honda.
Look out for praying this morning at Eden Hill, Shepherds Hill Road near Brook Drive, and Door Park St Mary's, the intersection upgrade there causing a few headaches. Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road. They're asphalting this morning. It's down to 1 lane both ways and 25 k's. Big delays on 5S Drive. Avoid the area if you can. Look out for a burst water main to Holden Hill, Grand Junction Road near North East Road. Planning a funeral? Talk to Alfred James Funeral Directors about their prepaid and pre-arrange options. Phone for a free, no obligation quote or visit alfredjames.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Our skipper on the line, fresh from Junction Oval, Melbourne. Trav Head, welcome. 2 Shield wins in the last 3 seasons. We've been bottom 9 of the last 12. Why are we so poor?
Look, results haven't gone away and no wins in the column, but I think you look over the competition over the last couple of years, wins are difficult to come by.
4 p.m. weekdays.
Have we got all the right ducks in order to be as good as we can be?
Well, I think we're going to have to see that.
Rowie's Sports Show on 5AA.
I don't really like talking on radio, but I do like talking about our cows at the FIVEaa Milk Company. And I love helping support SA dairy farmers. They're a great bunch with beautiful families. They work day and night to produce the best milk in SA. So when you're in the supermarket, look for FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. I'm getting good at this.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FIVEaamilkco.com.au.
Walco, Blanky! Walco, Blanky! Walco, Blanky! This is a game Pool and I play. Each night I come out and put her Walco blankie on. Keeps her from evaporating. But winter is coming. Soon she'll need her Walco Guardian pool cover. Sure, the fun ends, but I know she's looked after. Chemicals sealed off from the light, water clean, and no need for your pump. Get your pool a Walco Guardian pool cover for winter. Walco.com.au.
Be warm at home with Harvey Norman. Get snug with Sunbeam Feel Perfect Micro Plush Heated Throw, only $89. Get cosy with the Dimplex Ritz Electric Flame Effect Heater, $349. New DeLonghi 2400 watt Dragon 4 Pro Oil Column Heater, $379. Check out the new energy efficient wind-free 2.5 kilowatt reverse air conditioner, 6-star rating, $999, plus get a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card. Be warm at home with Harvey Norman.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's license? No. Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia is a third-generation licensed builder, and his team is the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 8, the Cabaret Festival kicks off. So we're almost to that time of year. 11th of June it starts through to the 26th. And how exciting is this? You can start buying tickets today. Now, we spoke to our next
42 minutes from now.
42 minutes
9
from
a.m.
now.
They go on sale.
Oh, so you've got the alarm set?
I have, and I'm going to be buying, I am definitely going to be buying tickets for the show we're about to discuss.
Hasn't gone unnoticed that you've never set an alarm for this program, but to buy tickets for the Cabaret Festival, suddenly you've got it working. Interesting. Our next guest we've spoken to, previously in her capacity is Cabaret Festival Director. I wonder if it's a bit more relaxing this time round, simply as a part of Rockwiz. Julia Samiro, good morning.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Will.
So, Julia, is Will right there that this time it's all of the fun and none of the responsibility for you?
Well, it's a bit bittersweet for me because we had to cancel my second festival last year because of COVID, and the program I had in 2020 was a beautiful complement to what we did in 2019. And I know I'm not the only one who had to cancel and lose a lot of things in 2020, but it felt really huge at the time because we'd spent 8 months preparing it, and it's 3 weeks worth of performers losing work. And so And already they had, the Cabaret Festival had secured the amazing talents. I mean, what a coup to get Alan Cumming as your new AD. And we're so excited. And I guess my incredible consolation prize is that Alan Cumming will be performing on the Rockwiz stage in the show when we salute the Eurovision Song Contest.
Now, you've got a special link to Eurovision because for about a decade you actually hosted it on SBS, didn't you?
Yeah, Sam Pang and I did the commentary. SBS always had the English commentary from Terry Wogan, and then the year he left and Graham Norton took over, some wonderful people at SBS, Denise Erickson, rang me and said, do you think you'd be into doing some commentary and we'll send you there with Sam Pang, who I knew and is a dear friend? And I just went, yes, please. And for 8 years, we got to go to Azerbaijan, Denmark, Norway, Germany, and just go really to one of the best parties you could ever go to in entertainment. So there's so many hilarious kind of songs, crossovers, stars that we'll talk about, including all the trivia around it for our quiz with Rockwiz.
Is my sense right, Julia, that it's more popular now than it's ever been in this country? It feels like
definitely.
The parties and things people have for Eurovision now are off the charts.
Definitely. And look, even the years I was doing it when Australia wasn't a contestant, when I would come back into the country, there'd be this 2-week period where so many people under 25 would come up to me and say, oh, my God, we went to this thing the other night. It was a party, and I didn't know anything about Eurovision, and we were watching it. And so it was starting to build a momentum, and it is a lovely thing to do and have a party around because you can also take bets. You can kind of do your Melbourne Cup of it, you know, and sort of trying to guess who the winners are going to be, or when people do Oscar parties. And also traditionally with parties, you always make food and drink of the country where it's being hosted.
Yeah, it's like a World Cup for music.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think, though, this might sound a bit harsh about Eurovision, Julia, but do you think you need a bit of an advanced sense of irony to enjoy it? Because is Eurovision the example of the old saying, it's so bad it's good?
Correct, absolutely. But this is what I found every year. I'll tell you this. You'd go in there and you'd go, oh, gee, there's some wacky songs in here. And then there'd be maybe 5 songs every year that would melt your heart. And there'd be 2 belters. And you'd think, this is an amazing pop song. This just works, no matter what language you're singing it in. And I think that's what's exciting when you're going to find out what the next big song is going to be. But then also you do get your wacky things like the babushkis, these 70, 80-year-old women, and there were 6 of them, you know, who from Russia who sang their song, Party Everybody, through to Polish milking maids with incredible cleavage singing their song. So there's a mix. There's something in there for everyone. You'll never be disappointed. Every 3 minutes it changes.
I remember years ago seeing some German guy who was sort of like a cross-dresser and he was singing a song called Ich liebe Steffi Graf. Do you remember him?
Oh, my God.
It was terrific.
Well, see, that's what I mean. There's something in there for everyone. You can sing about anything. The trouble is you've got to be careful. You can't say anything too political. One year wanted to sing a song called I Don't Want to Put In, which was a play on Putin, and that song never made it through. So, yeah, you've got to be there are rules. There's still rules.
So the performer was never seen again either.
Yeah, true. Never seen again. But look, they had to cancel as well last year. And so they are going to be holding their event in May. So hopefully there'll be some fun things happening there that we can include in our show when Rockwiz salutes Eurovision.
Well, that's excellent.
What's the audience participation component of this about, Julia?
Well, we always get, Brian always gets some amazing people up onto the stage and he does like a quiz and then we pick the best 4 to come on up with us. And we'll be doing that as well. But the fact that Alan Cumming, who's the artistic director, clearly loves Eurovision, will be a guest panellist, will also sing a song. I'm hoping to sing a couple of songs in French, and also to have contestants. And Mark Trevorrow will be part of the festival this year, and he's so fabulous, whether he's Mark or Bob Down.
Yeah, we interviewed him a few weeks ago. It's terrific.
Yeah, and he will be awesome, and they know their Eurovision as well. So our job is to find 2 really great contestants from the audience who know their Eurovision, and we'll have Alan and Bob up there. And also there'll be a few little Eurovision surprises.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah.
Do you realise you might be in for a surprise, Julia, because I'm just putting together a couple little puzzle pieces here. David set his alarm to buy tickets, and there's a musical quiz that allows audience participation. You realise he might be on the stage with you. In fact, I think he's angling for it. He loves the music quiz.
How's the Eurovision quiz, though? Because what we will do is we know we're going to have rock quiz. We're going to have rock quiz fans there too, obviously, and so we will do some sections will be about rock music. It'll be a mix, and also how the two clash. So, for example, Olivia Newton-John represented Eurovision. There'll be some Olivia Newton-John questions. Celine Dion. So there's a mix over and a crossover in popular music and Eurovision.
Sensational.
Good stuff.
Tickets on sale
shortly. Julia, great to speak again.
Julia.
So lovely to talk to you guys. I really miss being in the studio with you. That was always such a fun time, but thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, when you're in town, we'll get you in. We'll have to get you in. That'll be terrific.
That'll be amazing.
Excellent. All righty.
All right, lovely.
See you soon.
See you.
The show is the 25th of June at the Festival Theatre. It's a Friday night. That'll be a lot of fun. The Cabaret Festival runs from the 11th to the 26th of June.
Hey, guess what I'm thinking?
Again? I guess we could make it a quickie.
Okay.
Actually, it's such a nice night. We should do it on the deck.
Yeah.
For quick and easy new twists to old family favourites, just get some pork on your fork.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. The weather may be cooling down, but Adelaide property prices are hot. If you've been thinking of selling your home, now is the time. But it's not as simple as listing your house and watching the dollars flow in. A knowledgeable, hard-working agent can have a huge impact on the end result. The wrong one can literally cost you thousands. If you're thinking of selling and want to work with Australia's most awarded real estate agency, call Toop and Toop on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
Have you ever heard the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Well, it could not be truer than when it comes to home renovations. It's hard to get excited about a new bathroom or kitchen reno if the whole process is a living nightmare.
Not so at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, where it is all about the journey. Coxie and the entire team go to amazing lengths to make sure the process is trouble-free. From meeting Tammy, who's affectionately known as the Boss Lady, through to their incredible design team and millimetre-perfect tradespeoples, the tidiest tradies you'll ever meet, and what's more, they're on time.
Start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Buy Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, Flooring and Shutters, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
So what were you saying about battery-powered garden tools over petrol ones?
They're often lighter, less noisy, and some battery-powered tools give the petrol ones a run for their money now.
Oh, and Stanford's got battery-powered mowers.
Heaps. And trimmers, blowers.
So why haven't you replaced the old petrol ones?
I'd never remember to charge them. What's that?
This? Oh, just a little battery rotation chart I made. What colours do they come in?
You're the best, hon.
Stanford Mowers, 590 Main North Road, Jepps Cross. stanfordmowers.com.au.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
Life's a beach at Southside, the beach, Southside Suzuki.
Hi, Crystal here from Southside Suzuki. With end of financial year approaching, there's never been a better time to consider a new Suzuki. There's great deals across a range of popular models including Swift, Vitara, S-Cross and Baleno. View the range online or come see me and my team today at Southside Suzuki, Beach Road, Christie's Beach.
Life's a beach, Southside Suzuki.
LVD 2009.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
29 after 8, Fuel Watch, thanks to the wonderful people there at Dave Potter Honda on Brighton Road. Fuel is on the way up, though, unfortunately. About $1.49 is the average, so it's climbed up significantly over the weekend. Here are some of the cheap spots we found for you, though. The Ex-Convenience, Torrens Road, Woodville North, $1.22. The Liberty, Marion Road, Marion, $1.23. The United Tapley's Hill Road at Seaton, $1.22. And the Liberty at Morfett Road, Camden Park, $1.21. John and Hillbank, where did you meet Prince Philip?
Hello. Well, just over 50 years and 10 days ago, he came into my pharmacy.
Oh, John, really?
Yes.
Are you bound by confidentiality, or can you? What did you talk about? Beyond presumably some ailment he had.
We talked about barbiturates.
Seriously?
Yes, it was Strathmont Centre Pharmacy.
Strathmont Centre. Where's that, John? Was that in the city or?
No, next door to Hillcrest Hospital on Grand Junction Road.
Oh, okay.
Was he with anyone?
Pardon? Oh, yes. He was doing the official opening of the place.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And were you the chief pharmacist there, John?
I was the only pharmacist there at the time, yes.
How did you find... Everyone else we've spoken to this morning, John, has stories about, where they had a beer together. It was after a sporting contest or an event. At a pharmacy's a different vibe, I imagine. What did you think of him?
Well, he was very pleasant. He wasn't supposed to come in, but as he and his entourage were walking past, he decided to come across to the pharmacy.
And how long did you spend chatting with him, John?
Oh, maybe 3 or 4 minutes or so.
And it was just him on his own, not with the Queen?
Oh, no. There was a group of Strathmont Centre officials and that, and he was on a tour of the place, having opened it. So he had to walk past the pharmacy to get to the villa that he was going to. And for some reason or other, he just came across to the pharmacy, which I opened up and let him in, and we talked about barbiturates for a little while.
Well, as you do. How long did you have the pharmacy for, John?
Pardon? I retired in 1995.
Oh, wow.
Is Prince Philip, do you think, the most well-known person that came through?
Oh, I would think so,
yeah. I reckon he'd be pretty hard to beat.
I can't remember anyone else of such high esteem.
No, I think that's probably right. John, good on you, mate. John. It's a terrific call. Thank you for that. You know what? You do get a picture, too, from all these calls. There are people that get led on tours, and there are people that lead the tours, and Prince Philip wasn't led on a tour. No. Anywhere he went. He went,
the
I'm going to go
entourage
chat
is
with those
following
guys.
him.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
I want to go
right.
and have a look at this.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
exactly.
do that. 5AA News Time, behind closed doors, and David Koch still to come.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today, 22 with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Tributes are continuing for Prince Philip after his death on Friday. His children have spoken for the first time, with Princess Anne describing him as my teacher, my supporter and my critic, while Princes Andrew and Edward say his death is a great loss and they're rallying around their mother, the Queen. Prince Harry has also flown into London to attend his grandfather's funeral at Windsor this weekend. 10 News UK correspondent Phoebe Bowden says Australia will play a role in the service.
Prince Philip asked for 4 representatives from Commonwealth nations, for military representatives, to be at the gate to St George's Chapel where the funeral service will be held. One of those is from Australia because he does have those close ties to Australia.
A car fire at Holden Hill is being treated as arson. The Commodore station wagon was torched on Grand Junction Road just before 9 last night. Investigations are continuing. An alleged prowler has been picked up in the northern suburbs. A Windvale resident raised the alarm on Brunswick Terrace late last night, hearing noises in their backyard and seeing a man walk past. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it didn't end there.
Now, there were additional reports of similar suspicious activity coming from neighbouring properties in Surrey Downs. Police swarmed the area, conducted a search and located the suspect on Pauline Drive at Surrey Downs with some minor injuries to his hands and head.
A 47-year-old of no fixed address has been charged with 4 counts of being unlawfully on premises and will front court today. The Transport Workers Union and Qantas will go head-to-head in the federal court today on the issue of outsourcing the jobs of 2,000 ground crew. The union claims the outsourcing was unlawful under the Fair Work Act. TWU National Secretary Michael Cain says this is a critical case.
Well, today in this federal court case, we're putting outsourcing on trial. Qantas has outsourced these jobs. It's pushing them to lower standards. These are secure jobs and they're pushing them to insecure work. And they're doing it all under the cover of COVID when they should have kept these workers on because they were receiving JobKeeper to do just that.
The Adelaide Cabaret Festival returns this June with the full program unveiled. It features more than 180 artists in over 100 performances, including 10 world premieres. Festival executive producer Alex Sinclair says tickets go on sale at 9 a.m.
It's our very first ever international artistic director in Hollywood, a megastar, Alan Cumming. We're very excited to have him in his program, turning the spotlight back onto Australian and South Australian talent.
Now turning to 5AA Sports.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And there's some breaking news, Tom Wren.
Yeah, there certainly is. This has happened literally seconds ago, Mel. Hideki Matsuyama has just become the first male Japanese player to win a major after taking out the US Masters, holding on for a dramatic one-shot win over American Will Zalatoris. The 29-year-old making bogey on the last to seal the victory.
Matsuyama is Japan's first Masters champion.
Yeah, audio thanks to Fox. A huge result for him. Aussie Mark Leishman finished in a tie for 5th at 6 under, while Cameron Smith also put in a strong performance, finishing in a tie for 10th at 3 under. To football, and Adelaide is sitting pretty at 3-1 following a 41-point victory over North Melbourne. Darcy Fogarty returned to the side and contributed with 3 goals. Coach Matthew Nick still keen to use him in a variety of roles.
We'll keep working with Fog on what his game looks like and where we see him, but to be able to have multiple options with Fog is a bonus for us going forward.
The Crows women will begin preparing for a 3rd AFLW Grand Final in 5 years when they take on Brisbane on Saturday at Adelaide Oval. Meantime, Essendon has re-signed 21-year-old wingman Braden Ham until the end of next season. To soccer, and Manchester United's good forms continued after a 3-1 win against Tottenham. The result leaves the Red Devils in 2nd place. And 2 games in the NRL yesterday, with the St George Illawarra Dragons continuing their brilliant form with a 26-12 upset win over Parramatta, while North Queensland also produced a big upset with a 34-30 point win over the West Tigers. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Look out for a praying at Seaton Trimmer Parade Military Road today. Also another crash at Egan Hill, Shepherds Hill Road near Chowella Street, causing delays there. And Door Park St Mary's, the intersection upgrade there of Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road, big delays there. They're asphalting today. It's down to 1 lane and down to 25 k's. 5 Ash Drive, really heavy going if you're heading into town that way. Best idea, find another way in. It's only 4 weeks until supercars are back, so what are you waiting for? Get your tickets now to the OTR Super Sprint at the Ben Motorsport Park. Tickets at theben.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Mostly sunny, 22 today, 26 tomorrow with a possible late shower, Wednesday 21. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 9. We started the morning with an update from SAPOL featuring some sort of... I don't even know the circumstances around... I don't know whether to describe it as an escaped turkey, a want-away turkey, a runaway turkey. It was just literally a turkey, not a pejorative description for a crazed person, who was causing all sorts of issues at Parry Hill Shopping Centre. They can be quite nasty, these birds.
No, they're very territorial.
Yeah. Well, this one clearly thought, you know what? Parry Hill Shopping Centre's my territory.
Geese are like that. Geese are really aggro.
Yeah.
You don't want to get on the wrong side of a goose.
Long-necked bird family. 8223 is the number. We thought it's a prime opportunity to just check in to hear who's had a run-in with wild and weird animals, or maybe mundane animals in weird circumstances. We'll let you be the judge, but you can win a $100 Waller's gift card if it's sufficiently odd. 8223 is the number. I think that's the striking feature of the turkey at Parry Hill story is it was a turkey at the Parry Hill Shopping Centre.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What was it doing there?
I don't know.
8 a.m. too.
Well, was it even?
Doesn't it realise the shops don't open at 11?
Well, the turkey might have been angry about shop trading laws in this state.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was Rob Lucas's pet turkey.
Now, one of the features of the morning while we get to some of your Wollers entries in just a moment has been a wonderful series of calls we've received from listeners who have each met Prince Philip in very different circumstances, and each have provided a little insight into the man. Dennis in Golden Grove has met Prince Philip. Morning to you, Dennis.
Oh, good morning.
When did you meet Prince Philip, Dennis?
Well, I was sent to Singapore in 1972 to be part of a Australian, New Zealand, UK detachment to support Singapore during the time of a bit of unrest over there. And anyway, while we were there, I was given an opportunity to be part of a party which is to be presented to the royal family that were doing a tour through the island. It was the Queen, Duke of Edinburgh, and Lord Louis Mountbatten made up the party. And we were sent to the Kranji Army base along with about 4 or 5 other members of the armed forces from the various countries. And there we were lined up, and we met the touring group, which was led by the Queen, and followed by the Duke of Edinburgh and Lord Louis Mountbatten. And each of them had a set question to ask the group as they were walking through the greeting us. And when it got to the Duke, his question I could gather, because I was sort of in the middle of the lineup, and he asked where I worked, and I explained to him that I worked in the Singapore International Airport, greeting dignitaries as they're coming through. And I had a bit longer talk, I think, than some of the others had.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was okay, and I'll go on to that a little bit in a sec. But following that, Lord Louis Mountbatten came up, and his question as he's walking around was, and where did you come from in Australia? And he would ask a question, and somebody would reply Sydney or Melbourne or whatever. He'd say, oh, yes, I've been there. And when he got to me, I thought, well, I'll get a bit more out of him. So he asked me where I was from, and I said, White Yarcowie in South Australia. Well, where's the nearest town to that? I thought for a minute, Canary Belt, it's about 10 kilometres to the west of Yarcowie. Well, is there a bigger town there? and I had thoughts in my mind of mentioning Uluru or something like that. And I thought, no, I better not press my luck. So I said, there's Jamestown about 18 kilometres to the west. Oh, yes, I've been there. He sort of came out with a very triumphant cry, and on he went. So that was that little bit. But following day, when I was at work at the airport, the boss, my flight lieutenant, came up to the office very excitedly and said, listen, you've got to come with me straight away. I've got somebody I want you to meet. So I couldn't figure out who that would be, so we had a bit of a run down the steps and across to the front of the airport, and there was the big limousine with a flag bearing the commander of the chief of forces there at Singapore, the chief of the Anzac forces. He was an admiral. And he beckoned to me to come over and speak to him. I thought, what's this all about? And I thought, oh no, he's going to have a go at me for being a smart aleck, you know. Anyway, he handed me out a big envelope, and I said, okay, what's this? Well, he said, we'll open it. So I opened it up. And there was a big foolscap photograph of me speaking to the Duke.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, that's a great story, Dennis.
Have you still got the photo too, Dennis?
Oh, I'm looking at it now, yeah.
Oh, wow.
What a great story.
It did appear in, I think, the Advertiser and the local Northern Review or whatever it was in Jamestown. But I'm about less than a metre from the Duke when he was speaking to me.
Oh, that's
extraordinary. It's a rather nice photograph, but...
that's a great story.
It's a great story, Dennis. Thanks for calling in and sharing it. Met a couple of royals, of course. Louis Mountbatten,
killed
Duke's
by the
uncle,
IRA.
Killed by the IRA in his boat.
Yeah, not too long after Dennis met him too. It was about 1978?
79, I think.
79. Disgraceful.
All right, let's. Great call, Dennis. And if anyone else is, we'll try and squeeze in another story. If anyone else has met Prince Philip, geez, there've been some wonderful stories that have been told to us and the audience this morning. Appreciate.
We got a good text
everyone's
here.
Called in.
A good text. I like this. It says, "Good morning, all. I'm not a big fan of the royal family, but I'm loving these stories. They're fabulous. Keep them coming. It shows us Prince Philip just loved people."
Yeah,
I thought we'd get calls. I didn't think we'd get this many calls. It's been terrific.
Well, and people that I thought we might have had people that had been at addresses or had been in the vicinity of, or met him standing in a line, but the amount of people that have been able to give genuine insight into what he was like is just fantastic. 16-9, in a very different vein, people have been attacked by animals. We want to give some of those people a $100 Waller's gift card. Rosemary, good morning.
Hello, David and Will. Firstly, may I say that I think compassion is a great thing, and even the non-royalists are showing how compassionate they are to someone that's meant a lot to the world.
Absolutely.
Yes. But anyway, I just have to lay a little background to the story. We have 10 acres, and our neighbour across the road, up until 5 years ago, had an alpaca. Now, the alpaca sort of just roamed freely over there, so much so that everyone loved it. And you'd go out the front, like our front drive, and call Packy, and then you'd have a race up the road with it. The garbos used to turn into the road and toot the horn, and the alpaca would come from across the paddock to them, and then they raced it down the road. It just loved companionship.
So it was a friendly alpaca?
Well, it was. You couldn't touch it. And I always warned our and nephews when they came here, they could go and talk to it, but not to get too close. Yeah. Anyway, we celebrate Christmas Eve at our place, and then we used to go up Christmas Day to my brother's place at Port Augusta. He's a teacher up there. And anyway, this one particular Christmas morning, it was about 7 years ago, and my husband was out getting the car ready to go, and next minute I heard this almighty yell, "Open the door, open the door." And I got out there, went outside to think, oh, what's he done now? And next thing, he's treading air coming down the driveway. The reindeer's chasing me, the reindeer's chasing me. And I walked out there to see Packy. He must have thought he was having a game with him. And I just walked out there, put my hand up and said, "Stop, Packy." And he stopped and just stood there. My husband flew in through the front door, and next minute the owner came. He was chasing him down the driveway. Look, you had to be there to actually see.
Well, no, that would have made Christmas traumatic, I think, if you thought it was a reindeer. Thank you, Rosemary. Let's go to Port Augusta. Darryl, good morning.
Good morning. This is Port Augusta and alpacas. I've got a story to tell you.
Right. Far away, Darryl.
Yeah, so I went to a place called Stonehart. I had a bit of a look, and I thought it was pretty cool. There was all domestic animals there, alpacas, kangaroos, there was sheep, a whole group of them. And anyway, I decided I'd take my family back. And so I took my family along, and we've got a handful of food in the enclosure. It's like an L shape. So the animals were you couldn't quite see them. So I rustled the bag with, the bag of food. Next minute, an emu come around the corner. Two emus, alpaca, sheep. I've thrown the food to the side thinking, okay, I'll distract them that way. But no, they weren't interested in the food. They wanted the bag, and they had me running to the gate while my wife and son were cracking out laughing. And these animals, this is like the story when animals attack.
Oh, you tell it well, Darryl. Thank you. We'll take one more. Lorraine in Morphet Vale, good morning.
Good morning. A lovely program. Thank you, boys.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Oh, yeah, just stunning. Mine happened, I live in very, very much metropolitan Morphet Vale. There's no farmyards around. There's no farming land. The nearest would be at the back end of O'Sullivan's Beach Road, which is quite considerable time. Woke up one morning and out I went, and there was this goat about the height of up to my knee in my backyard, and it's like, where's the goat come from? It was just unbelievable. I'm looking around, I'm thinking, where the heck has it come from, and how did it get into my backyard?
Was it friendly?
Pardon?
Was it friendly, Lorraine, or was it aggro?
Oh, no, it was friendly.
Oh, that's good.
I was able to get a noose around it. I rang the council and they said, it's illegal to have any goats in the property at all or in the north of Onkaparinga Council.
Well, they were going to fine you, were they?
Well, yeah, they were pretty aggro. And I said, well, it's not my goat. I want to give it back to you. Oh, no, you have to get rid of it. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Lorraine, have you ever noticed when you're driving north along South Road when you go over the bridge with the sign saying crosswind near the dump there, McLaren Vale, but sort of between McLaren Vale and Seaford, when you're heading back towards town, as you go over the bridge, on your left, there's a house on the side of the hill where their backyard is literally on like a really steep sort of 30-degree angle, and they've got 2 goats as a pet in their backyard, and you always see the goats walking around there.
Yeah, they're grass mice, and I thought, well, maybe that's where it's come from, but nobody owned up for it because I put an ad in, etc. I ended up having to drive all the way down to Victor Harbour in this really isolated up in the hills to this lady thankfully took the goat. So,
well, that's good.
Did you have the goat in the car with you?
Oh, I forget now. Well, yeah, I think we tied it up around the hoof and put him in the boot.
No, you got to get him there somewhere, I guess.
Well, I think
sounds like a scene out of Goodfellas.
I think Lorraine wins the $100 Wallace gift card, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
Ringing the council to return a goat and having them say, you can't have a goat in your backyard. That's tremendous.
Putting the goat in the boot of the car after trussing it up.
10 to 9, that's fantastic work, Lorraine. All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 HRV at Australia's #1. That's Dave Potter Honda.
Look out for praying at Seaton, Trimmer Parade, Military Road. Another crash to Eden Hill, Shepherds Hill Road near Chowella Street, causing delays inbound. At Door Parks at Mary's, the intersection upgrade there, Goodwood, Springbank and Dawes Road. Detours in place there. That's down to 1 lane both ways. Speed's down to 25. FIVEaa Drive really heavy going this morning. Best advice is to avoid the area if you can. Look out for a burst water main too. That's also causing delays at Holden Hill, Grand Junction Road near North East Road. With Amazon Prime, you can stream Amazon Originals and movies while also receiving free delivery on Prime eligible orders. Start your 30-day free trial today, $6.99 per month thereafter. T's and C's apply. Amazon Prime. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. We now have an amazing selection of new season's garments in store. Whether you're looking for everyday wear in skirts, pants, tops, blouses, jackets or knitwear, we have it all in sizes 10 to 24. Also a great choice in special occasion wear. If you're looking for something a little different to wear, come early in the season while we have a great selection. Joyreen Fashions for mothers and daughters, 491 Port Rush Road, Glenunga.
Walco? Blanky! Walco! Blanky! Walco! Blanky! This is a game Pool and I play. Each night I come out and put her Walco blankie on. Keeps her from evaporating. But winter is coming. Soon she'll need her Walco Guardian pool cover. Sure, the fun ends, but I know she's looked after. Chemicals sealed off from the light, water clean, and no need for your pump. Get your pool a Walco Guardian pool cover for winter. Walco.com.au.
How do you know you're in South Australia? Well, we make a great coffee. We're festival mad. And we have Leader computers. Yep, world-class Leader computers are made and serviced right here in Adelaide. It means everything you need for your business or home computing is local, not overseas, not interstate. So if something does go wrong, there's no runaround. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. To find your local dealer, visit leadersystems.com.au.
Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain. But SportsMed is changing that, thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
Sportsmed.com.au.
As I look deep into my crystal ball, I see your future. Bright and full of promise. Oh!
Yes?
I see.
Yes?
I see.
What? What is it? What do you see?
No, it's gone.
Lost your picture or need to improve your picture quality? Call Jim's Antennas. With technicians on the road all over SA, we'll have it fixed in no time. Call 131 546 or visit jimsantennas.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 9. Running a little late for the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, this morning, in part because we've received so many wonderful stories about people in South Australia that have met Prince Philip. Morning to you, Koshy.
Morning, gents.
We've been inundated, Koshy. So many people. 13 visits Prince Philip made to Adelaide over his long and illustrious life, and we would have had more than a dozen callers this morning who had really nice first-hand accounts of meeting him. He touched a lot of people.
He sure did, and his service to that country and to the Commonwealth and to the Commonwealth more widely has been absolutely huge. And how many kids have done the Duke of Edinburgh Awards and met him through that? My uncle chaired the Duke of Edinburgh Awards in Australia for many, many years, Sir Eric Neal, and I met the Duke a couple of times when he was out here for functions like that in the past. Was always, to me, the nicest bloke. But, when social media started to rear its head and every word that a person says gets analysed, I think he has been a bit unfairly or a bit harshly treated in the past. And, everyone makes silly comments. We all know about that. But generally, he was a guy that had a really good heart.
A lot of those comments too, when you actually read about the context and so on, they're often really just quite droll, self-deprecating remarks too. He wasn't sort of up himself at all. He was quite open to taking the mickey out of himself.
And that's why he and the Queen, for official occasions, was such a great combination, because the Queen can't be funny. The Queen has to be sort of very royal, if you like, and people get intimidated by people in those positions. So whereas she had to follow protocol, he could put people at ease, and that was his way of doing it so many times, and it was just terrific at it.
Well, sorry to keep it short, Koshy, but we have so many wonderful people saying exactly what you've just told us there, that this is a wonderful person. Yeah, absolutely. Great to speak to you, Koshy. Have a good week.
Catch you next week.
Cheers, Dave. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch. It is time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed 13.95, Adelaide's FIVEaa. This is the Saturday Sports Show. KG and Cornsey.
Hi folks, welcome to the Saturday Sports Show. Graham Corns with you, and the way, the truth and the life of South Australian sport.
No, come on, don't start all that stuff, Starley. I'm just KG, come on, get on with it, Stud.
Big game last night from Port Adelaide.
Oh, what a fantastic, I'll tell you what, I lost sleep over it.
You lost sleep?
I did, I found it hard to get to sleep. I was talking to myself.
Talking to yourself?
I was talking to myself, and I didn't get very good answers, but I was.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean, uh-oh?
Uh-oh.
Oh, are you making an inappropriate joke about the fact that because I'm 81 years of age and I said I'm talking to myself that maybe I'm going a bit batty?
Well, I wouldn't say...
That's exactly what you were doing, Studley. You were suggesting that me being an old bloke, that maybe I'm getting dementia or...
Well, yes, you're probably right. I do apologise.
That's all right, Sarah. Get on with it.
What did you say?
I said, that's all right, Studley, get on with it.
Oh, okay.
Fair dinkum.
Right, a bit later on we're going to talk to Chris Davies, GM of football at the Port Adelaide Football Club.
Yes, good bloke, Chris.
Yes, he is. In fact, he seems too good a bloke to be working down there.
No, hang on, what are you saying, Stud?
I'm only joking, just a throwaway line.
Oh, that went down like a lead balloon, I can tell you.
Went down like a lead balloon?
Yes, it sure did, Stud.
So it went down really well?
No, that's not what I meant. It went down badly, Stud.
Exactly. So if it went down like a lead balloon, Ken, which is heavier than air, then it went down really well. What you should have said was that it went over like a lead balloon.
But a lead balloon wouldn't be able to go over because...
Exactly. So it didn't go over well. Which was what you were trying to say. Now, if you want to say that it didn't go down well, then you should have said something like, it went down like a helium balloon.
But helium balloons float.
That's right.
So
they don't go down well.
I don't get this confused even when I talk to myself.
Minutes of 9.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people. helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Major road resurfacing works on the southeastern freeway between the toll gate and Hyson tunnels will be underway until mid-2021. Motorists should expect delays, so allow extra travel time. Visit dit.sa.gov.au/SE Freeway. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Now, if you've ever landscaped your garden or you're planning to, you know you need good concrete sleepers. But now, not all concrete sleepers are the same. Outback Sleepers are the toughest concrete sleeper on the market with a 35-year product warranty.
They're perfect for slotting a staircase, building a retaining wall or fence. Basically, if you're doing any landscaping, the only sleeper you need is an Outback Sleeper.
Timber sleepers will deteriorate and you could get white ants. Not with concrete. An Outback Sleeper's the only sleeper with a 35-year product warranty.
And once you put them in, they're there for a lifetime. So if you want to get your hands on some, all you need to do is ask your local landscaping stockist and fencing supplier, or you can find them online at outbacksleepers.com.au.
At Specsavers, we know we could all use a spare pair.
Where are my glasses?
Luckily, you can get 2 designer pairs, no gap, from the $199 single vision range with selected health funds. Only at Specsavers. Conditions apply.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
It's 9 o'clock. We're out of time. Just to round out the storyline of the morning, Hideki Matsuyama won the Masters in the end.
Oh, yes.
The speculation in Japan now, Tom Wren informs me, is that he might light the Olympic flame.
How about that?
Quite seriously, he might be the torch lighter in Tokyo in the Olympics.
Excellent.
Leon Biner is coming up in a moment, and we will catch you tomorrow from 6.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today and a top of 22 with the 9 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Prince Harry has arrived in London ahead of this weekend's funeral for the Duke of Edinburgh. Nine's Alison Petrowski says he touched down at Heathrow on a commercial flight from the US and will be staying at Kensington Palace.
He will follow all COVID protocols, including self-isolating until the time of the funeral. Meantime, new details have emerged about the role he will play in Prince Philip's funeral on Saturday. He will walk shoulder to shoulder with brother William behind their grandfather's coffin. Harry will not be in military uniform since he's been stood down from royal duties.
Condolence books for Prince Philip are available for members of the public to sign at Government House on North Terrace. They'll be forwarded to Buckingham Palace at the end of the week. There's been an arson attack on Grand Junction Road at Holden Hill. A car was torched shortly before 9 last night. It's not clear whether the Commodore station wagon was stolen. Charges have been laid following an alleged prowler being picked up north of the city. He was reported in a yard at Windvale and Surrey Downs late last night. Senior Constable Dave Muir says they made an arrest nearby.
The 47-year-old of no fixed address was treated at a hospital before being taken to the police station where he was charged with 4 counts of unlawfully on premises. He hasn't applied for bail and he'll appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court later today.
The Prime Minister says the government will no longer be setting targets for when Australians will receive their first dose of the COVID vaccine. Scott Morrison says it's not possible to set new targets due to the uncertainties involved. The AMA has been seeking clarity interstate on the legal protections for GPs who give the AstraZeneca vaccine to those under 50. But AMA President Dr Omar Khorshid says doctors will be protected if they're doing the right thing.
Doctors are not going to be sued for participating in this program and doing the right thing based on advice. That's just not going to happen. And the message for the public is that all doctors are actually covered by indemnity, as are all nurses and all other health professionals.
Jobs could be at risk if Australia loses its legal battle over naming rights to a popular honey. Nine's Helene Lambetsis has more.
The Australian Manuka Honey Association's going head-to-head with a group of New Zealand producers trying to trademark the term. Producers are concerned the upcoming case, beginning tomorrow, could threaten the country's $1.2 billion honey market. Those across the ditch claim Manuka is a Maori word used to describe honey from a particular tea tree species that grows in New Zealand. Australia's arguing